important. There can also be a threat of violence, but the same is done primarily in order to what? Send a element of fear among the people, and this fear among the people will get converted as a pressure on the government in order to meet the religious or ideological aims of the terrorists, sir. समझ में आया आपको? Very simple definition. So it is actual violence or a threat of violence, okay, so which sends a signal of fear psychosis among the people with the ultimate intention of pressurizing the government here, okay. So and I told you that innocent civilians are targeted, but apart from the innocent civilians, sometimes the state agencies also can be targeted, okay. You know Pulwama. So in Pulwama, are the innocent civilians targeted, or is it the military which is targeted, sir? Military it was targeted, but even then it is called as an act of terror. So it means that, so terrorism is a act of violence or a threat of violence, so which is main aim is to send a signal of fear among the people, so that they will create a pressure on the government in order to meet the ideological or political aims of the terror group, sir. So someone was asking me, is hijacking is also an act of terror? So definitely it is an act of terror, because through hijacking what you are doing, you are putting pressure on the people, and through the people you are putting pressure on government in order to meet some religious or political aims of the terrorists. So this is the clear-cut definition of terrorism, sir. Then apart from this definition of terrorism, now if you look at, there are some things, sir. Okay, what is the next heading is what are the main attributes of internal security? Main attributes of internal security means, when can we say that there is internal security in the country, sir? When can we say that there is internal security in the country? Okay, first and foremost, the people should feel a sense of safety. Then what are the attributes means? The same thing, sir. Attributes means what are the facets of internal security? Okay, what all facets should be present in order to consider a country as internally secure? Tell me, what are the other facets of internal security? First is you should have safety. Then along with that, there should be proper law and order in the country, then only we can say that the people are secure. Without law and order, definitely the country cannot be secure. So law and order is one more important aspect of security. Then uske साथ साथ में okay, so I'm sorry. So first and then the next thing is, a country can be considered as internally secure only when the sovereignty of the state is unchallenged. Sovereignty should also be there. Then apart from sovereignty, what else should be there? Okay, someone was saying that, okay, so in fact, a country should be considered as internally secure when there is a social justice in the country. Because without social justice, what will happen? It will again get translated into an internal security challenge. समझ में आ रहा है सर आप लोगों को मैं क्या बोल रहा हूँ? Social justice should be there, law and order should be there, sovereignty should be there, a sense of a feeling of safety should be there. Then only a country can be considered as internally secure, sir. और उसके साथ साथ में और कुछ चाहिए इंटरनल सिक्योरिटी के लिए? हाँ? Okay, so that is what social justice में regional balance भी आता है. Then along with that there is also, okay, class system is also not too harsh. People's livelihood is guaranteed. Regional balance होना चाहिए. अगर ये सब है तो then definitely that becomes part of social justice. There can be regional balance. Okay, people balance between people. That is the what. Okay, there should not be any extreme class differences in society. So all of these are part of the internal security itself, sir. Only when all these aspects are present, then only the country can be considered as internally secure. So did I miss any point in the attributes of internal security, sir? Okay. A rule of law, we talked about it, and obviously in rule of law is nothing but, okay, maintenance of proper law and order. So you treat all people with equality. There is equality before law. That is one more thing. Then did I miss any other point, sir? Communal harmony should be present. That is also important. Communal harmony. Without communal harmony, we cannot consider the country to be internally secure. Or so I think these are the important elements. The rest of them I have covered. Okay, so social justice is one thing that you have to write, sir. Okay, social justice is not mentioned there. Please write down social justice. Okay, between regional balance, then class structure should not be too exploitative. All of these are part of social justice. Sovereignty should be there, law and order should be there, safety for people, If all of these are present, then only we can consider the region as internally secure, sir. So please add the word social justice there. Social justice may regional balance. Then along with that, the social structure also should not be exploited. Then what are the major challenges to internal security of India, sir? What are the challenges? You people should help me out with the challenges. Challenges कहाँ से आ रहे हैं हमको internal security के लिए? One major challenge for internal security of India is Naxalism. Yes, one more major challenge of internal security of India is, in fact, the aspect of terrorism we see. And as part of terrorism, we see insurgency in Jammu and Kashmir. Jammu and Kashmir insurgency is one important character of terrorism. Jammu and Kashmir insurgency is there. Then uske saath saath mein, we also see the insurgency which is there in northeast India. Northeast insurgency. Then along with that, one more thing is, apart from terrorism in Jammu and Kashmir, there is also hinterland terrorism in India. What is the meaning of hinterland? Okay, one is borderland terrorism. Borderland terrorism is directly supported by the external actors, sir. Hinterland terrorism means the terrorism which happens deep within the country, sir. Okay, can you give any example of hinterland terrorism in India, sir? Any example, any organization of hinterland terrorism? You know about this famous organization called Indian Mujahideen, sir. IM is the best example for hinterland terrorism because this is not directly linked to Pakistan sponsored terrorism. It is domestic terrorism of India that is called as Indian Mujahideen, sir. So Indian Mujahideen hai, Jammu and Kashmir terrorism hai, Naxalism hai, Northeast insurgency hai. Then और क्या है sir challenges internal security के लिए? What other internal security challenges are there in the country? One more important internal security challenge for the country is, in fact, communal violence and communal riots. Caste violence is also a challenge to internal security of the country. Yes, caste violence, communal violence. Okay, all of these are challenges to the internal security of the country. Then उसके साथ साथ में और कोई internal challenge है security के लिए? Which one? Language conflicts. Did they translate into internal security challenges? Or is there large scale violence on the basis of language? नहीं है. Okay, so any other challenges to internal security I am talking about? Challenges means what has already happened. Okay, challenges means what is already there in the out. Okay, so any other challenge which is already there to the internal security of the country? Just see what are cyber security or cyber attacks is a challenge to internal security, sir. Not cyber security is an aspect of internal security, whereas cyber threats or cyber attacks is an aspect or a challenge of internal security, sir. Cyber attacks is one method. Then apart from that, did I miss any in the list that I have provided? Left-wing extremism is Naxalism. Organized crime is a challenge to internal security. Money laundering is a challenge to internal security. Okay, the entire syllabus is a challenge to internal security. Okay, apart from us, it is also a challenge to internal security. Also, money laundering is there. Organized crime, Naxalism, terrorism, Jammu and Kashmir, Northeast insurgency. Then उसके साथ साथ में terrorism. This communal violence, caste-based violence. So all of these are reasons for the internal security challenges challenges to the internal security of India, sir. Now let's try to understand what are the reasons for these challenges, sir. आखिर ये challenges आया ही क्यों? Okay, why did they come? Why did they come in first place? Tell me, sir. What are the reasons for internal security challenges? You try to tell me. Okay, first and foremost, the most important reason for emergence of internal security challenges in India is the unfriendly neighborhood of India. Is it not this case? Most of the internal security challenges in India are sponsored by China and Pakistan. Yes, unfriendly neighborhood is one major issue, okay, which is promoting these internal security challenges. Then the second one is absence of social justice in India. Social justice in many cases, particularly Naxalism, okay, is an outcome of absence of social justice. That is failure of land reforms is one reason. Okay, then uneven development in different regions is one important reason for the emergence of what? Northeast insurgency. Uneven development is Northeast insurgency, and then okay, absence of social justice between people is the reason for the emergence of Naxalism. Then any other factor for the rise of internal security challenges, sir? Okay, illegal migration, did it lead to internal security challenge? How? Okay. Link is difficult to establish. I think your point I have understood. So it means that a lot many illegal immigrants from Bangladesh have come into Northeast India, and that is one reason why there are conflicts there. Okay, but it is not empirically proven. Okay, I'll tell about one exercise called NRC, then you will understand whether it was true or not. Okay, you will understand whether it really happened or is it is a scarecrow, make believe. Okay, See, one more reason for rise of internal security challenges in the country is, the third one is very, very important, sir. Try to understand this. First one is unfriendly neighborhood, absence of social justice, and the third reason is the competitive politics in India, sir. Is it true or not, sir? Okay, competitive politics. Competitive politics also sometimes leads to internal security challenges, particularly the caste-based and communal violence. They are primarily an outcome of competitive politics. Is it true or not, sir? Because of competitive politics, the political class, they take up the issues, okay, and promote differences and conflicts between different communities and castes. That is one important reason for internal security challenges. Okay, then apart from this, the fourth reason for internal security challenges, sir, unfriendly neighborhood, social justice, political aspect, the failure of criminal justice system in India is one important reason for emergence of internal security challenges. Primarily because in India, the person who commits crime, he is not always punished, and sometimes the criminal justice system also punishes the innocents too. And in both cases, what will happen? If a person who has committed a crime, if he escapes unpunished, then what will happen is he will become a very, very prominent don. Wherever the criminal justice system fails, it is creating the necessary conditions for the rise of organized crime, sir. And because of the slowness of the criminal justice system, what happens? Usually people go outside of the legal system in order to make settlements, and it also increases the significance of the elements which cause internal security challenges, sir. In fact, one important reason for the internal security challenges in India is the failure of criminal justice system, sir. Okay, so but the wording is very harsh. Okay, so the limitations of criminal justice system, you write, sir, rather than saying failure. Okay, limitations is a better word. Limitations of the criminal justice system is also one important challenge, okay, or one important reason why the challenges have emerged. Then uske saath saath mein, the fifth element which led to the internal security challenges. The fifth element is also very important. Just listen to this, sir. The absence of constitutional literacy among the people. अगर सब लोगों को constitutional का values पता है, okay, if they believe and trust in the constitution, then taking up violence in order to meet their demands is not required. Constitutional value system is not proper in India. People don't know about constitution. Constitutional literacy is very minimal. And if constitutional literacy is there among the people, then automatically the internal security challenges will not emerge, sir. Are you getting what I'm trying to say? So I think I told you at one point of time that the Indian constitution itself is afraid to cross Delhi. बोला था मैंने इसके बारे में. Yes or no? Because immediately after Delhi, what is there? UP is there. And in UP, okay, so in UP there is no constitution, sir. People don't have constitutional literacy. So that is the reason why earlier, now Yogi has made a constitution of his own. That is a different case. Okay, so but okay, so what they try to do is, usually there is no constitutional literacy in India. That is also one major reason for the internal security challenges. Then along with that, okay, one more important reason for religious fundamentalism is also an important reason for internal security challenges. Religious fundamentalism, rather than believing in the constitutional principles, okay, excessive belief in the religion itself is a threat to the internal security of the country. Are you getting what I'm trying to say? Religious fundamentalism in itself is a challenge to the internal security of the country, sir. Is the reason for the internal security challenges. So, religious fundamentalism, absence of constitutional literacy, the limitations of the criminal justice system, political classes promoting violence, then absence of social justice and unfriendly neighborhood, all of these factors together, okay, they lead to the internal security challenges, sir. And one more thing is, if you see, most of the internal security challenges, they come from governance failure too, sir. This is also very important. Most of the internal security challenges, they also emerge from the failure of governance in order to deliver what has been promised by the constitution. Is it true or not, sir? If the constitutional promise is fulfilled, then will people take up violence against the government, sir? So in fact, governance failure is one important factor, sir. Okay, this is very, very important. Absence of proper education, healthcare, connectivity, infrastructure for people, absence of dignity in life. So all of these things are also causes for or reasons for the rise of internal security challenges in India, sir. Is it clear? So did I cover all or did I miss any? Let's see. I think we can put it as governance failure. Okay, governance failure happens, that is the reason why we will be forced to bring in armed forces. And once the armed forces are brought, then it will lead to, okay, what? It will lead to a cycle of violence and counter violence, sir. Yes, we can also put AFSPA. Okay, AFSPA, rather than a solution, okay, it in fact provoked more violence, sir. Okay, so but while making the statements, we have to be very, very careful here, sir. Okay, that is the reason why I am saying I did not include AFSPA here. Did I miss any point? Porous borders is one more. Unfriendly neighbors, porous borders. So I already told about the impossibility to secure the Indian border. Yes. So then apart from that, any other point that I missed? I think more or less we covered all the points in the reasons of internal security conflict. Just check it once. Poverty is absence of social justice, sir. Poverty, unemployment is absence of social justice. That is the outcome. Okay, social justice nahi hai to hi poverty, unemployment, all of these problems will come in. So try to understand this. Unfriendly neighbors, absence of social justice, political, okay, the exact word that I have used is what? Competitive politics, but it is given there with a different name. What is that? Contentious means conflicting politics, sir. Contentious means competitive and conflicting politics are called as contentious politics. That's the reason why I wanted you people to write the meaning of that. Contentious means conflicting and competing politics. Conflicting and competing politics are one more reason. So first, what we talked about, sir? First thing is we talked about the various kinds of internal security challenges. First, we defined what internal security would be. I mean, if a country is internally secure, then what should be present? Then second one is we talked about the challenges to internal security. Third is we talked about the reasons for the rise of challenges, sir. Now, the next aspect is we need to talk about, okay, one more thing, the challenges to the external security of India too, sir. Okay, not just internal security, because sometimes the external security threats also translate into internal security threats. So what are the challenges to the external security of the country, sir? You please help me. External security ka kya challenges hai? First one is unsettled boundaries with our neighbors. Is one major external security challenge of India is unsettled external boundaries is one important external security challenge. Then uske saath saath mein second one is maritime security is the second major threat to the external security of India, because we see the problems of piracy. We see the problem of very narrow sea lines of communication. Have you heard about this SLOC, sir? Just listen to this. Okay, in fact, Indian Ocean has very narrow sea lanes of communication. Where are the narrow sea lanes of communication? One is the Persian Gulf. Persian Gulf is one narrow sea line of communication. Then Red Sea is one more narrow sea line of communication. Then uske saath saath mein Malacca Strait is one more narrow sea line of communication. It means that if some of our enemies capture all these three narrow blockade points, then automatically they can affect the Indian economy significantly, because we are essentially dependent on the import of oil from the Red Sea and Persian Gulf region, sir. Samajh mein aa raha hai? Okay, and if we compromise on the energy security of India, then automatically it will compromise the internal security of the country. Agar energy security chala gaya to khatam. There is no way out, sir. Understand this carefully. So this is one important thing. Energy security को हम लोग threaten कर सकते हैं by challenging the military or maritime security of India. And in challenging the maritime security, even one more problem is the problem of piracy. What is the meaning of piracy? Huh? What? Piracy means armed robbery at sea, sir. Okay, so armed robbery at sea is called as piracy. There is one more piracy also, movie piracy. That is a different one. Okay, so the intellectual piracy is also there, but this is more important piracy. The original piracy is armed, okay, looting at sea is called as piracy, sir. Piracy is also threat to the Indian Ocean security. Yes or no, sir? Okay, recently you might have seen the Houthis attacking ships. Then uske pehle Somalian pirates, they used to loot the ships. On that also there was a question in UPSC mains, sir. That is the reason why external security ka threats mein hame unsettled boundaries is one, maritime security is one more dimension. Then apart from that, any other external security threat to India, sir? Cyber attacks. Okay, so cyber attacks is the third one, because they can originate in any part of the world, but they will have a significant impact on the internal security of the country. Yes. So then apart from that, these days we are facing a major problem with respect to militarization of space. Okay, so you know about these domains of warfare, sir. Okay, first domain, second domain and third domain. So the first three domains are land, water and air. Then the fourth domain of warfare is what? Cyberspace. Then fifth domain of warfare is what? Space. समझ में आ रहा है आपको? 5 डोमेन है वॉरफेयर में. फर्स्ट डोमेन इज व्हाट? लैंड. सेकंड वन इज वाटर. थर्ड वन इज एयर. फोर्थ वन इज एयर. एयर इज विद इन एटमॉस्फेयर. Okay, not space. Fourth one is cyber. Fifth domain of warfare is space, sir. And today we are seeing this militarization of space also. That is also a threat to the internal security of the country. Even Indian government is also developing a missile which is called as Shakti, which can target spatial, which can target this space-based satellites also can be targeted by the Indian missiles now, sir. Satellite laser also is one thing that you can use. Okay, so you see James Bond movies, sir. Okay, there you will find a lot many new domains and dimensions of warfare. Okay, all of these are present. So now militarization of space is also one threat to the external security of India. Then one major external security threat for India is the world today is in transition from unipolarity to multipolarity, sir. That is one of the major threat. It is not mentioned there. Please write it down. Transition from unipolarity to multipolarity. पहले एक single pole रहता था. Now we are moving towards this concept called multipolarity. And in the transition, what is going to happen? The external security of India is being threatened in multipolarity. Is it true or not, sir? So then apart from that, what other threats does India face? Okay, biochemical weapons means definitely they are a threat, sir. Okay, but the thing is we are looking at the causes of the threat, not just the means of the threat, sir. Countries are going to, but if we say that, then we have to remain poor so that we should not attract the jealousy of other nations. हो सकता है क्या वो काम नहीं बन सकता है, sir. Okay, so that is not going to be possible. Okay, we cannot remain poor in order to not attract the jealousy of others. Okay, so this might this is the ideology of many families in India, but not the national ideology of India, sir. Okay, Indians tended to deliberately look poor than what they actually are, sir. But in other countries, people spend a lot of money in order to look rich. But in India, usually because we don't have any consumeristic culture, excessive consumeristic culture, because of which Indians are happy by deliberately looking poorer than they actually are, sir. Okay, so that is the case. Now, one more thing is Indian external security is essentially dependent on the security in Middle East, sir. Okay, so whenever the security in Middle East is threatened, automatically it will also lead to a threat to India's internal security, sir. Is it true or not? The Middle East politics are not just Middle East politics, they are global politics, sir. Because everything that happens in Middle East doesn't stay in Middle East. Usually it spreads across the world. That is what we are seeing right now. Israel, Palestine, Houthi. Okay, all these links are what? Middle East problems are not Middle East problems alone, they are global problems, sir. That is the reason why there is also a major threat to the external security of India. So did I cover all? External wars. Yes, war is also a threat. That is, unsettled boundaries is the reason for the external invasions. Okay, you are talking about Russia-Ukraine war. Huh? So Russia-Ukraine war, did it directly affect the external security of India? But we can cover it under unipolarity to multipolarity transition. Okay, that is in fact one element of okay, war is Russia-Ukraine war is an element of multipolarity, sir. The world is moving away from unipolarity to multipolarity, and that is one thing which is very clear, sir. That is also a challenge to India. Is it clear? So I think you have understood all the points. Did I miss any? External security threats, may? Yes, sir. India promotes multipolarity, but what kind of multipolarity? A multipolarity which has Indian dominance in it is accepted by India. But a multipolarity which is against India's interests would be supported, sir. Do we support the transition of power from USA to China? We don't support. We are trying to oppose it. That is the reason why we have become part of that Quad organization. समझ में आ रहा है सर? Okay, हम लोग को power transition चाहिए, but the power transition should occur to the favor of India. But if the power transition occurs in opposition to India, then India's security is definitely threatened, sir. समझ में आ रहा है आपको? Yes. Okay, so that is the reason why India is saying right now also that multipolarity is better than bipolarity. So that is the case, sir. I think you have understood it. I'll not go into the domain of international relations. So my confines is internal security, but just some threats which have external origin also will have impact on internal security. Those are the important challenges to the external security of India, sir. Yes. Okay, one more major problem for the external security of India is the possibility of nuclear warfare, sir. Please write it down. Okay, the possibility of nuclear warfare. Okay, because the India-China-Pakistan axis is called as the nuclear flashpoint of the world, sir. India possibility of nuclear warfare as India-China-Pak axis is called a nuclear flashpoint axis. Yes, AXIS axis. Axis is called. Axis means the three triangle. Okay, axis means the triangle. India, China, Pakistan axis is considered to be nuclear flashpoint. Okay, flashpoint means what? Trigger. I mean, we don't know what is going to happen. Just like a flash of a camera. Okay, anytime the nuclear war can start. Okay, that is the reason why it is called as nuclear flashpoint. So this is also one threat to the internal security of the country, sir. Is it clear? So all of these are important aspects of internal security. Now we will move to the first topic, that is linkages between development and spread of extremism, sir. Okay, try to understand this. So when it comes to development, okay, please help me with defining development, sir. What is the meaning of development? Huh? Okay, so a sustainable growth in the economy which covers every section of the society is usually called as development. So I think you understand the difference between growth and development, right? Growth is nothing but it is an expansion of the economy, sir. Whereas development is what? The expansion should be sustainable and inclusive, then it is called as development, sir. This is a good definition of development, but a better definition of development is, it is given by Amartya Sen, sir. And Amartya Sen says that real development is nothing but expansion in capabilities and choices of people so that they will have some real sense of freedom is called as development, sir. Okay, so two definitions. One is economic definition, one is Amartya Sen's definition. So just write, growth is expansion of economy. Please write it down. Growth is expansion of economy. Development is growth is expansion of economy. Development is the expansion of economy which is sustainable and inclusive. The expansion of economy which is sustainable and inclusive. Sustainable and inclusive is growth of economy which is sustainable and inclusive is, or did you write development is? How did you start it, sir? Development is expansion of economy with which is sustainable and inclusive. Okay. So then after that, Amartya Sen's definition is given on top. Just see. Development is expansion of capabilities and choices. Okay. So capabilities and choices which will lead to, they will write one just additional point, which leads to increase in their freedom, which leads rather than writing increase, just a second, which leads to higher freedom, to people, Okay, what is the meaning of expansion of capabilities, sir? Means to acquire wealth is capability. Very good. So in fact, capability is like skills. Capability is a skill which is economically relevant so that the people, okay, can increase their capability. Then what is the meaning of choice, sir? Choice is in fact freedom. See, I'll tell you one example, sir. Let's suppose, take the case of a tribal woman who is living in a remote corner of Odisha, sir. Okay, and what is the capability of the tribal woman, sir? So maximum to maximum collection of minor forest produce from forest, that is also sometimes considered as illegal, and they will be forced to sell it at a very cheap price. But is it a sustainable capability? High income generating capability, is it, sir? It's not. So naturally, when this kind of capability is there for the tribal woman, automatically the thing is, this lady, can she send her children to school, sir? Can she give, okay, modern health facilities to their children, sir? So it means what? Whenever the capability is less, automatically the choices of people also will become lesser. समझ में आ रहा है आप लोगों को? अगर capability है तो choices automatically they get expanded. But when the capability is very less, automatically the choices for the people which are open to the people are also very limited, sir. But let's suppose the same tribal woman, she is trained through a skill development activity in, okay, let's suppose some sewing mission is given to her and she is asked to stitch something and they are marketed by the government, sir. This way what will happen? Her capability has increased. Now she has a new skill, that is sewing. Okay, so sewing mission is there, she will sew the cloth. Then after sewing the cloth, she will send it to some agency, they will market it, they will sell it and give some sustainable income to the tribal woman. Then automatically her capability has increased. Now she can afford to send her children to a private school. That is a choice for us. For her, she has government school and private school and she will send to the private school. Then in case of illness in family, they have the option to choose either private healthcare or the government healthcare. समझ में आ रहा है सर आप लोगों को? Then along with that, the choice increase also will lead to what? Okay, one thing is, in the food choices of people also there will be a change. Earlier they used to consume just the PDS, whatever is got in the PDS, it will be consumed. Now they will move towards more nutritious food once they have the capability. Yes, so just one sewing mission to a tribal woman, it has increased her capability, and through that the choices of the tribal women are increasing. But the thing with post-independent Indian government is, for the first 50 years of Indian independence, there was no focus on capability building or choice enhancement, sir. Try to understand this. Very, very important. There was no focus. That is the reason why, in the absence of a sewing machine, the tribal woman has chose a machine gun. That is a choice they have. Sewing machine to mila nahi, to capability nahi hai, choices nahi hai. But at the same time, the Naxals have come and said that you take this machine gun, then it will lead to empowerment. This will lead to social justice and equality. Then the tribal woman, what she did, okay, the option for her is, one is a sewing machine and the second one is a machine gun. And the government incapability did not provide her sewing machine. So that is the reason why she picked the machine gun and she became a Naxal. Are you understanding what I'm trying to say, sir? Now let's try to understand. Okay, so development definition, did you understand now clearly? So capability and choices of people is very, very important for development, sir. Development is expansion of economy which is inclusive and sustainable is development. And at the same time, whenever the development doesn't reach, okay, the most downtrodden sections, then automatically it will lead to extremism, sir. Okay, how underdevelopment leads to extremism? Let's try to understand this very carefully. And in fact, usually extremism and underdevelopment link is usually considered to be a vicious cycle, sir. Okay, it is not just a two-way relation. Underdevelopment doesn't only lead to extremism. Okay, it leads to more problems, and it is usually considered to be underdevelopment. Okay, extremism, vicious cycle it is called as, sir. And this is also called as the vicious cycle of violence. So let's try to understand this vicious cycle of violence, sir. It starts with the absence of livelihood opportunities for people, sir. It starts with the absence of livelihood opportunities for people, and when there are no livelihood opportunities, automatically the socio-economic indicators of people would be very low. Well, livelihood opportunities nahi hoga because you don't have any capability. Then automatically the socio-economic indicators will be very poor. What is the meaning of socio-economic indicators, sir? Health, education, HDI. So all of these indicators will be very poor. And when health, education and other indicators, socio-economic indicators are very poor, automatically it will lead to a sense of disillusion among the people, sir. What it will lead to? It will lead to a sense of disillusion. Disillusion means what? A feeling of hopelessness. हमारा जिंदगी नहीं बदलेगा, गवर्नमेंट हमारे लिए कुछ नहीं करेगा. So this is the kind of a feeling which is usually called as the hopelessness or disillusionment feeling, sir. And whenever the people are in this state of disillusionment, automatically they easily get attracted towards extremist ideology, sir. Is it true or not? You are absolutely hopeless. So some person comes from the forest and says that, okay, I will give you empowerment. The thing you have to do is you have to fight, and I will provide you salary too. See, in fact, the Naxals, all of them are paid monthly salaries, sir. Without that, Naxalism would have not survived in the tribal belts of India. Every month there is 8 to 10,000 rupees of salary that is given, and there is also pay differential between men and women, sir. Are you getting what I'm trying to say? So there is also pay differential between men and men, men and women. So this leads to attraction towards extremist ideology. And once they get attracted to the extremist ideology, what they will do is, try to understand this, sir. It will lead to governance deficit, sir. Extremism, how does it lead to governance deficit, sir? Huh? They attack the infrastructure. Very true. They attack the infrastructure. They attack the government agencies which are trying to come inside. Okay, they try to blast away the bridges which are being constructed. So it means that extremism, whenever it becomes popular among the disillusioned people, automatically what happens is there emerges a violent reaction against the government, and it leads to governance deficit. You might be knowing that many teachers, doctors, they were also targeted, kidnapped by the Naxals. When no one is ready to go there, then automatically what happens? It will again end up leading to less livelihood opportunities. When extremism is there, will any private entrepreneur be willing to go and invest their money there? कोई जाके वहां पे पैसे डालेगा क्या? सबको डर है. ओके, हमको अगर गया तो वहां पे पता नहीं, हम लोग लापता हो जाएंगे. ओके, सो जंगल में लापता हो जाएंगे तो फिर हम लोग क्यों जाके वहां पे पैसे डालेंगे? Government agencies themselves are afraid to go to the Naxal belts. So why will we go? This is the main issue, sir. First, it starts with lack of livelihood opportunities. Then after that, it leads to poor socio-economic indicators. Then it will lead to the dissolution. Then it will lead to extremism. And once extremism starts, it leads to governance deficit. Once governance deficit starts, this will become a vicious cycle, sir. Is it clear? But when these kind of security threats have emerged, extremism has emerged, the Indian government, what it did is, it took an approach of law and order, sir. It is usually called as security centered approach. Listen to this carefully. तो पहले जब भी कोई एक्सट्रीमिस्ट चैलेंज अगर इंडियन गवर्नमेंट को आ गया तो immediately the government used to consider it as a security challenge. It used to consider it as a security challenge, and it is used to consider it as a law and order problem, sir. And when you consider this problem as a law and order problem, what will you do, sir? Try to crush them. Okay, try to crush extremism by bringing in military or police, sir. But trying to crush just to one element of violence, will it lead to solving the entire problem, sir? If you take up a security centered approach to the challenge of extremism, then what happens is it will traditionally tend to build more extremism, sir. Is it understandable what I'm trying to say? Because you are trying to crush the symptom. The problem's a symptom you are trying to crush, but not the problem itself, sir. The problem is what? Livelihood opportunities. The issues are essentially livelihood opportunities. But what you are doing, you are considering it as a law and order problem, and by employing more and more security agencies, you are trying to crush the extremists, sir. But by crushing extremists, one extremist dies, 10 more would replace him, sir. It is the same case with Naxalism, terrorism, whatever problem you take, it is usually the same outcome, sir. So that is the reason why in the first 50 years of Indian independence, what happened is the internal security challenges, despite of the best efforts of the government, that too security related efforts, the problems were not resolved, sir. Then finally, what happened is the Indian government started realizing that the security challenges are not the real problem, they are just a symptom of problem. If we want the end of extremism in the country, what we have to do is we have to address the underlying problems. Symptoms को अटैक करके उनको सप्रेस करने के लिए ट्राई किया तो okay, it will lead to the disease becoming more intense. Is it true or not? Yes or no? You have to solve the core problem. That is the reason why the Indian government later it understood that we have to shift away from the vicious attacks that we are doing, and what we have to do is we have to go for a virtuous cycle of development, sir. And this virtuous cycle of development, it first starts with better governance. It first starts with better governance. And once you provide better governance, better infrastructure, better facilities for the people, then automatically what happens is people will have more livelihood opportunities. And once the livelihood opportunities are more, then automatically what will happen? The socio-economic indicators would be better. Then when the socio-economic indicators are better, there will be high levels of hopefulness rather than hopelessness. And the people who think that their life can become better without resorting to violence, will they come under the influence of extremists, sir? When you are hopeful and when you are positive about your life, then automatically the extremist influence on you will come down, sir. True or not? When you are in negative mindset, when you are being crushed by the system, that is when you get attracted to extremist ideology. But if you don't have that element, and if you are this is very, very important, if you are hopeful, then automatically hope is an antidote to extremism, sir. You need not do anything. You have to give the people hope of a better life. Then automatically they will not move towards extremism, because no person is a fool to die for the sake of some ideology when they have a better chance of at life, sir. लाइफ पे अगर बेटर चांस है तो आइडियोलॉजी के लिए मरने के लिए लोग फूल्स नहीं है, सर. This will lead to the creation of hope among the people, and once hope is created, it will lead to trust in governance, and if there is trust in governance, automatically it will lead to more better governance. See this cycle: first better governance, livelihood opportunities, socio-economic indicators, hopefulness, trust in the governance system, and trust in the governance system will lead to better governance, and this is the virtuous cycle that we need to create, sir. And just by sending more and more security agencies, what we are doing is we are trying to solve the symptom but not the underlying problem. But what we have to do is, in place of mere security, we have to take up an approach which links both development and security aspects, sir. Only then any anti-extremist measure would be successful. Otherwise, whatever you do, extremism cannot be controlled, sir. Are you getting what I'm trying to say? So these are the two diagrams that I have provided there. So development virtuous cycle and violence vicious cycle of extremism. Is it clear? So I think both the topics are clear. I need not explain them through the handout. No need, right? I think you have understood this. Okay, just write one small statement there, sir. In the first 50 years of independent India, the approach of government towards extremism is based on security centered approach. Is based on security centered approach, but this approach led to more extremism. But this approach led to more extremism, full stop, as the government was trying to suppress the symptoms without addressing the underlying disease. Is it true or not, sir? Didn't the government declare a war on extremists without attempting to understand the underlying problems of extremism? Okay, so Odisha is one state, okay, which is under Naxal influence even today. Yes, some districts of Odisha are still under Naxal influence, particularly what are the districts, sir? Malkangiri is part of Odisha, right? So in fact, the district name of Malkangiri was also mentioned in one UPSC question, sir. Okay, Malkangiri district का नाम भी दिया था. Okay, primarily because the tri-junction between Odisha, Jharkhand and Chhattisgarh. Okay, this is the Andhra is no. The tri-junction is between Chhattisgarh, Odisha and Andhra. Okay, Jharkhand से भी आपको border है ना, north. Okay, but even that region is also affected by Naxalism. That border region is also affected by Naxalism, but the tri-junction of Chhattisgarh, okay, Odisha and Andhra region, that is in fact having intense Naxalism, sir. We'll talk about the belt. Okay, so this is the case. I think you have understood the concept here. Okay, but now our approach shifted towards security plus development. Which is yielding better results. But now our approach has shifted to security plus development, which is yielding better results. Tribal areas. Okay, see, first and foremost, the Naxal issue is a livelihood issue, sir. Okay, particularly, I'll just give you one example. The Indian government's approach towards the tribals and forest was not very different from the British approach, sir. Remember conservation by exclusion? Modern India में हम लोग बात किए थे conservation by exclusion के बारे में. It means that you exclude the tribals from the forest. That was our approach. Now we changed that approach to, okay, this approach which is called as right to forest. 2006. पता है आपको right to forest act के बारे में? So which gave, okay, the tribals land rights over the forested areas. So every tribal family is allocated some land. They are permitted to collect the minor forest produce. Then one more development step that we have taken is PISA, Panchayat Raj extension to scheduled areas. Is one more important step that we have taken. Multiple steps, sir. I'll tell about those steps too, because our approach right now is integrated action plan. Integrated means what? Security plus development, sir. Both the things we are focusing. Is it clear? Okay, so this is the case with the link between extremism and development. The same diagram, it has been explained in 2 slides, sir. But whatever content I have talked about, it is the same thing which is given there. Okay, so that is the link between extremism and spread of underdevelopment and spread of extremism. Very, very important, sir. Don't forget, in examination you have to draw these diagrams while you are explaining why we are unable to crush the extremism in India, sir. Okay, दो diagram बहुत important है, sir, हमारे लिए. Yes, sir. Yes. State programs also we can take up. Central programs give preference in UPSC. State programs also you can give preference in state services. What the government is doing in Odisha in order to counter Naxalism. Huh? Guru Priya? What is it? Connect them. Okay. So connecting the hamlets, small villages of the tribals are connected to it is Naxal affected area. What is it? Guru Priya? Is it the place name? Bridge name. Okay. Malkangiri? Okay. So you can write some local initiative also, sir. There is no problem. but give always preference to the central initiatives. That would be better. Okay, state initiatives also we need to write. Okay, so you can say some model. Okay, so model of with respect to, some models are there with respect to security. One is Andhra model of police is very prominent in Naxal, counter Naxal operations. No, greyhounds. Okay, so greyhounds, which is actually very effective in countering the Naxals. I'll talk about it. Okay, now you understood the vicious cycle of underdevelopment and extremism. Now, the first topic that we need to pick up is the topic of Naxalism, sir. So, Naxalism is a very, very thoroughgoing ideology. So, what we will do is, in Naxalism, very, very important topic, sir. Every alternate year there is a question. So, understand the significance of this topic. First, we will discuss about the origin of Naxalism, sir. How it originated, in fact. Then, apart from origin, okay, the second thing is we are going to talk about the ideology, what they wanted to do. What is the ideology of Naxals? Then the third thing that we are going to do is we are going to discuss about the phases of Naxalism. Okay, because Naxal movement, it is not a single phase. There are 4 separate phases in Naxal movement in India. Phases के बारे में हम लोग बात करेंगे. Then fourth factor is we are going to discuss about the causes of Naxalism. Then after that, the sixth factor that we are going to talk about is, okay, so the methods which are adopted by the Naxals, so which is usually called as the aspects of Naxalism. Methods which are adopted by the Naxals is the next part. Then apart from discussing about the methods, the last section is what steps are being taken by the government in order to counter Naxalism. Okay, पूरा 7 dimension है इसमें. पहले origin of Naxalism, second one is the ideology of Naxals, third one is with respect to the phases of Naxal movement, fourth one is with respect to the causes of Naxalism, and fifth one is with respect to methods or aspects of Naxal movement, and sixth one is with respect to the government steps which are being taken up in order to counter Naxalism. Every dimension is important here, sir. Not just one or two, every dimension is important. So let's try to understand the origin of Naxalism first, sir. So when it comes to the origin of Naxalism, primarily Naxals are the people who believe in this ideology of socialism, and we defined socialism, right? What is the meaning of socialism? Public ownership over means of production, and it takes the form of a political movement with justice and equality as its core principles. Okay, just before teaching modern India helps me a lot, sir, in this subject, because we start from modern India only, and then we will discuss the internal security challenges. So socialism is an ideology which promotes public ownership over means of production, and along with that it has its core principles as justice and equality. That is what is called as socialism, sir. Now you should try to understand which is the first socialist violent revolution in India, sir. Which is the first socialist violent revolution in India? Huh? Violent revolt by socialists, which is the first one? Telangana peasant movement. Yesterday we talked about it. 1948 to 1951, it was anti-India movement. भूल गए आप लोग? कल ही बात किए थे. भूलने का चांस भी नहीं है. आप लोग भाव नहीं दिया. बस उतना ही. Okay, so you did not give any importance to it. The Telangana armed struggle is the first violent communist revolt in India, sir. Then after that, I told you that in 1951 they joined into the mainstream politics and they got elected in 1951 elections. I told about it, sir. मैंने बोला था इसके बारे में. Then after that, the next important thing about the rise of Naxalism is, okay, primarily land reforms is the core issue on which the Naxal movement has started, sir. The Naxal movement's origin is primarily on the issue of land reforms. I told you that in post-independent India, Indian government has taken up 5 major land reforms, sir. What are the 5 major land reforms? Zamindari abolition is one. Second one is land ceiling. Third is tenancy reform. Fourth one is land consolidation. Fifth one is cooperative farm. Aren't these the 5 aspects of land reform, sir? Okay, so this is the policy of the central government in 1951 to implement the land reforms. But land as a subject in India is under which list, sir? Land as a subject matter is present in the state list. Even though the policy decision is taken by the central government, the implementing agency is what? State government. The implementing agency for land reforms in India is the state government. And Try to understand this. At this point of time, in the state government, there used to be numerous civil servants. Then along with that, state level MLAs, ministers. These are the important people at the state level, civil servants, okay, politicians like these MLAs, ministers, and these sections of the society are the ones who are supposed to implement the land reforms. But the problem is, if land reforms are implemented properly, the most economically affected sections are also these sections. Because during British rule, who became politically prominent, sir? Landowners. Middle classes became more important. They are all landowners. Civil servants are again the middle class members. So, will these people be interested in implementing the land reforms, sir? अगर लैंड सीलिंग अगर इंप्लीमेंट किया तो मेरा खुद का 50 एकड़ का जमीन चले जाएगा, तो मैं इंप्लीमेंट करूंगा क्या? Try to understand this. Second one is, if jamindari abolition is done, jamindari abolition में the land was classified into two categories, sir. One is the land under personal cultivation, one is the land under the jamindari. So what these people used to do is they used to claim more and more land under personal cultivation. Okay, so if you claim more land under personal cultivation, immediately the land ceiling will come. You can't possess more than a prefixed amount. Okay, then after that there is tenancy reform, and tenancy reform's main call is what? The person who is tilling the land should become the owner of land. So does Odisha have a slogan for this? Okay, every state has its own slogan. The land tiller is the land owner. Every state has its own slogan in local language. I think your state also will have one slogan of this format. No, land belongs to the tiller is not part of. But okay, so every state has its own slogan, sir. Okay, so the person who is tilling the land should become the owner of the land is the idea of tenancy reform. Then उसके साथ साथ में land consolidation था, cooperative farming था. But the thing is, the state governments which are dominated by the civil servants, MLAs and ministers, they did not implement the land reforms with the necessary intent, sir. Try to understand this. They did not implement the land reforms with the necessary intent. Only the jamindari abolition was successful, sir. But most of the jamindar's lands they claimed under personal cultivation. Then uske saath saath mein even the jotedars also claimed a lot of land under personal cultivation. समझ में आ रहा है आपको? Then when land ceiling is being implemented, what these people did is the civil servants, MLAs and ministers in each state, they try to understand this very carefully. In land ceiling, they tried to delay the implementation of land ceiling, sir. That too, apart from delaying, they provided numerous scopes to transfer the land to other people. Okay, so land ceiling, if I possess more than 100 acres of land, then the land ceiling will come to me and they are going to redistribute the land, sir. But the enactment of the Land Ceiling Act, it took a lot of time, because of which what I did, I knew that the act is going to come, so I will transfer some land to my children and I will say that they are a different family, I am a different family. I will transfer the land to one of my relatives who is landless and he is a binami to me. I will transfer the land in the name of a lower caste person who doesn't know anything about the legality of land ownership. And in some cases in India, there were instances where the land was also transferred in the name of cows. क्योंकि गाय माता होता है, गाय भी फैमिली में एक मेंबर होता है, तो हमारा गाय को भी लैंड चाहिए, नहीं तो वो कहाँ जाके खाना खाएगा? ओके, सो आपके घर पे आ जाए क्या? सो should we send the cow to your home? It has to eat, so it requires land. So what you have to do? Okay, so let us permit or give us permission to transfer the land in the name of cow. So this way, numerous binami transactions have happened, sir. Then along with that, the jotedars also claimed a lot of land under personal cultivation. They shifted the land ownership, and the reform, that is tenancy reform, it was not successful, sir. Land to the tiller of the land is something which was not implemented properly in any of the states. So because of these factors, the failure of land reforms is one of the main reasons for the emergence of Naxalism. समझ में आ रहा है आपको? So understand this very, very carefully. One thing is, land reforms were proposed by the central government, but they have to be implemented by the state government. But at the state level, there were numerous interests which were trying to stop the land reforms implementation properly, and because of which factor, the land reforms implementation was not completely successful. Rather than saying that they are a failure, it would be better to say that there were many limitations in implementation of land reforms, sir. Is it clear? I think you have understood what I'm trying to say. Now the thing is, during Jawaharlal Nehru time in 1951, he tried to bring in land reforms, sir. And when he tried to bring in land reforms, just I'm telling one story to you. Immediately there was a case in the Supreme Court of India, sir, saying that fundamental right of India is right to property. How can the government abolish zamindari? How can it implement land ceiling when there is right to property as a fundamental right to the in the Indian Constitution? तो फंडामेंटल राइट है, तो आप लोग कैसे इंप्लीमेंट करेंगे इसको? तो वो क्वेश्चन था. And when this question was raised, try to understand this, sir. What happened is numerous cases were filed on the central government too, sir. And in fact, because of the pressure of the cases itself, Jawaharlal Nehru was forced to pass the first Constitutional Amendment Act. You know about this first Constitutional Amendment Act, sir? You might have studied in polity about the first Constitutional Amendment Act, which is the case which was filed, sir. Is it Shankari Prasad or Champak Dorarajan? Champak Dorarajan is the case name. And because of that case only, the first Constitutional Amendment Act was passed. But despite of passing the act at the state level, the implementation of land reforms was not very successful, sir. Okay, and one political party which was continuously fighting for implementation of land reforms was Communist Party of India. Because the communist ideology is what? Socialism. They want redistribution of land. So CPI political party, it continuously demanded and started fighting for the land reforms to be implemented with a true intent, sir. They were fighting. And as part of this conflict itself, try to understand this, they were able to win the election in 1956 election, sir. The second general election when they were conducted, the CPI political party, it was able to win in the state of Kerala. And through that, the world's first democratically elected communist leader came to power, and his name is, who is the world's first democratically elected communist leader? Namboodiripad. Yesterday we talked about him. EMS Namboodiripad, he came to power in Kerala. But what Nehru did is, after he came to power, Nehru imposed president's rule over Kerala, starting the politics of imposing president's rule on opposition political party ruled states, sir. वो जीत गया था डेमोक्रेटिक इलेक्शन, गवर्नमेंट भी फॉर्म किया. उसके बाद इसने क्या किया? प्रेसिडेंट रूल इंपोज करके उसको गवर्नमेंट को अबॉलिश कर दिया, सर. Understand this very carefully. Then the next major event which occurred in the story of Communist Party of India is in 1962. What happened is the Chinese invaded over India, sir. And when the Chinese invaded over India, try to understand this, sir. In the CPI political party itself, there emerged a split, and one party came to be known as CPI, and the second party came to be known as CPI Marxist, sir. CPI Marxist is the political party, and this split occurred primarily because one party, that is CPIM, it took a pro-China stance, sir. Whereas CPI, it took a pro-India stance. It means that when the Chinese were invading, some communists in India, they started appreciating, standing and clapping, sir. क्या invade किया? क्या हमारा दिमाग में एक thought आया ही नहीं था? Okay, what a vision. Okay, they have invaded, they started applauding. Many communists were sent to prison also, sir, because they are conducting this as anti-national. Is it true or not? And CPIM as a political party, it took a clear-cut pro-China stance, and this was the first split in the CPI party. And after this split, try to understand this, sir. In 1967, again general elections were conducted. And in the 1967 general election, what happened is the same CPIM political party, it was able to again win in Kerala, and along with that, it also won significant number of seats in Bengal too, sir. Okay, the party which is an anti-national party, okay, but at the same time, it was trying to promote the interests of the poorer sections of the society, because of which in 2 states they have won the election. And to the Communist Party of India Marxist political meetings also, they used to carry Mao's photograph to all these meetings, sir. The same Mao who invaded India, but they used to carry his photograph. And in Kerala, they were able to successfully implement the land reforms. Whereas in Bengal also, okay, what these people did is they formed a government which is called as United Front government in 1967, sir. Understand this very carefully. CPIM was one of the members of the United Front government, which is a coalition government, sir. And they came to power on the promise of land reforms. And what they did is they promised that there would be the reforms which are called as Bargadari reforms. Who are the Bargadars? tenant farmers. Bargadar is nothing but tenant farmer. So in fact, they wanted to bring in Bargadari reforms wherein the tenant farmer will be converted into the actual landowner. Now try to understand this. The United Front government, there is CPIM political party. What it was trying to do is, it was trying to implement land reforms through constitutional and legal means. We will pass laws for land reform. Then along with that, we will employ the constitutional means in order to bring in land reforms. That is the ideology of CPIM political party. But the problem is, when you use constitutional and legal means, usually, okay, the land reforms are going to be gradual. Understand this very carefully. Is it not going to be gradual, sir? So let's suppose the government passes a law. Okay, so in order to bring about land reform, then immediately what happens is the landowners, they will go to the court. Court ko jayenge ki nahi, sir? They'll definitely go to the court. They will challenge the state law. Then along with that, when the actual implementation is happening too, what will happen is, okay, the landowners, they will try to pressurize the government, use multiple number of methods in order to stop the land reforms from being implemented. Hey ki nahi, sir? In fact, the same thing happened in this district which is called as Naxalbari district, sir. 1967 में वो लोग गवर्नमेंट को क्रिएट किया, उसके बाद में कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल एंड लीगल मींस से वो लैंड रिफॉर्म लाने के लिए ट्राई कर रहा था. एंड एट दैट पॉइंट ऑफ टाइम इन नक्सलबरी डिस्ट्रिक्ट व्हाट हैपेंड इज, देयर वाज नक्सलबरी विलेज, इट वाज प्रेजेंट इन दार्जिलिंग डिस्ट्रिक्ट. तो वहां पे देयर वाज ए जोतेदार हु वाज द ओनर ऑफ ए लार्ज पार्सल ऑफ लैंड, सर. एंड द लोकल पॉपुलेशन आर प्राइमरली द संतल ट्राइबल्स. All the tribals were Santal tribals, they were the tenant farmers. So because the government has passed a law, okay, saying that land belongs to the tiller, so these people went to the court against the Jotedar, sir, saying that the Jotedar is not permitting us to cultivate our own lands. Okay, they went to the court and the court clearly gave a order in favor of the Santals, sir, saying that they can become the owners. So these Santals, they went to the village, and in Naxalbari village, based on a court order, they entered into the land which was originally belonged to the Jotedar, sir. जो जोतेदार का लैंड था, उस लैंड पे ये लोग एंटर किया, सर. And when they entered into the land of the Jotedar along with his Latials, okay, they came in large number and they started brutally harassing the Santal farmers. They started hitting them and they chased them out of the land, sir. Once they were chased out from the land, at this point of time, what happened is there emerged a leader by the name of Jangal Santal, and this person, he organized a band of the Santals and they attacked the house of the Jotedar. They killed the Jotedar, they looted the house, okay, and all the Latials were also attacked, and this way they started a war with the Jotedar, sir. And when the war started with the Jotedar, immediately what happened is some police officers, they came into the Naxalbari village in order to arrest the Santals who are responsible for attacking and killing the Jotedar, sir. Now try to understand this. When the Santal farmers are attacked by the Jotedar, there was no police. The police did not come in order to protect them. But now, when they conducted a retaliatory violence, at this point of time, the police are coming to arrest. So what these people did is, when the police tried to enter into the Naxalbari village, they also attacked the police who are entering, and they killed a sub-inspector, and they killed some constables too, and they chased out the police also from Naxalbari, sir. समझ में आ रहा है आपको? Okay, the reason is what? Because the land reforms through constitutional and legal means are gradual. Whereas on ground, if you want to bring about change, if you want land reform, the best method for you is to kill the landlord. समझ में आ रहा है आपको? Very very simple method, direct approach, rather than going to the court, constitution, legal, winning election. ये सब बहुत दूर की बात है. Direct approach is what? Okay, land is here, landlord is there. Okay, you kill him and you occupy his land. This is in fact a rapid and okay immediate change is coming here rather than a gradual change. And in fact, Jangal Santal and the Santal tribals, when they killed the landlord, they were inspired by one member of the CPI Marxist party itself, sir. इसी CPI Marxist party में okay there was a member by the name of Charu Majumdar, sir. And this Charu Majumdar, even before the Naxalbari uprising, what he did is he in fact started propagating a radical ideology which is based on Mao's ideology, sir. Mao ideology के हिसाब से ये भी एक radical ideology के बारे में बात कर रहा था. And the CPIM political party, in order to implement its land reforms, it appointed Kisan Sabhas in different districts of Bengal, sir. सुन लीजिए, CPIM government, okay, that is a what is that? Union government? No, not union government. United Front. The United Front government in different districts of Bengal, in order to implement the land reforms, they appointed the Kisan Sabhas, sir. Okay, so in these Kisan Sabhas, one of the Kisan Sabha was the Kisan Sabha of Siliguri, and Charu Majumdar is the head of this Siliguri Kisan Sabha, who was given the charge of implementing land reforms there, sir, but through constitutional and legal means. But this person felt that this is a long-term process and the farmers will not get the real justice. What we have to do is we have to follow the method which has been followed by Mao in China. And what did Mao do in China? He went to the villages, killed the landlords, redistributed the land among the farmers. Why should we not do the same thing? He was propagating this idea, and even without his active involvement, the same ideology of this person was implemented actually on ground by Jangal Sant. समझ में आ रहा है सर आप लोगों को? I think you are understanding? Yes. Okay. So dots are connected is, first one is the failure of land reforms. Okay, failure of land reforms is the first one. Then second one is Communist Party of India. It was trying to implement the land reforms, and Communist Party of India got split into two groups, CPI and CPIM, primarily because of the support and opposition to Chinese invasion. Yes. Then after this, the next thing that happened is CPIM political party in 1967. It won in West Bengal and in Kerala, and it was trying to implement the land reforms through constitutional and legal means. And to implement the land reforms through constitutional and legal means, they appointed numerous Kisan Sabhas. And in Siliguri, there was a Kisan Sabha which was led by Charu Majumdar, and he felt that the constitutional and legal means to implement land reforms are ineffective. It will take a lot of time, and it will not bring about social justice. He started believing in that, and he proposed an alternative method which is following of Mao, and Mao's method is what? Killing the landlord and redistributing the land. उसने proposal दिया. Then उसके बाद में the actual implementation of this proposal, it occurred in Naxalbari, where the Santal farmers, they killed the Jotedar and they took over his land. Okay, so this is how the dots are connected, sir. Yes, sir. Court case, you didn't get the court case. So court case क्या था कि land reform law was there. Okay, so but the Jotedar is not permitting the Santals to cultivate the land. तो वो लोग कोर्ट पे गए कि यहाँ पे जोतेदार है, okay, under the land reform law we should get the access to land, but the Jotedar is not permitting us. Then the court gave an order which favored the Santals. Then they entered into the land. Then when they entered into the land, the Jotedar attacked them. Then the Santals revolted. Under the leadership of Jangal Santal, they started a revolt. They killed the Jotedar and took over his land. Then at that time, the police came in order to protect the Jotedar and punish the people who are responsible. So what the Santals did, they killed the police officers also. And by killing the police officers, they converted this movement into a political movement. Understand this very carefully. Okay, I'll explain this primarily because what Charu Majumdar thought and what he wanted to do, let's try to understand now, sir. Okay, so uska kya ideology tha? Yes, sir. They are also promoting socialism, but the thing is, any government which is part of the state machinery, can it accept violence by people? They also have to, even though they are socialists, they have to uphold the law and order. Yes, because there were many factors, sir. Local political factors were there. Okay, police were also pro-Jamindar, pro-Jotedar. Okay, so the government did not think of this issue as a major issue. समझ में आया आपको? Yes. So this is the case, sir. Because many a times the state government is willing, but the police are unwilling to help the poorer sections. Civil servants also many a times they are unwilling to help the poor people, even though the chief minister is crying for the poor people. The civil servant's heart is not changed. I'm just giving some examples, sir. समझ में आया आपको? Okay, so that is the case. Okay, you are always linking everything to Pandian. but his rise is definitely a meteoric rise. And many people say that the fall is also going to be like a meteor. Okay, so now I think you have understood these things. Okay, so did you understand step by step what was happening there? Okay, this is important. Now let's try to understand why they attacked the police, why did they convert the movement into a political movement, and what was their intention. Let's try to understand, sir. Now first and foremost, for understanding what they were doing, we need to understand about Charu Majumdar, sir. Okay, Charu Majumdar is also a member of CPIM. He was the chairman of the Silgur Kisan Sabha, but his approach to land reforms was quite different from the approach of the CPIM members. CPIM members से इसका different approach था. He used to call himself as a radical person rather than a progressive person. Radical means what? For the change that I want, I am ready to use violence, and I want immediate change, not gradual change. That is the radical ideology. And in his radical ideology, he in fact he proclaimed 4 aims. उसने क्या किया? 4 aim को propose किया, sir. And the first aim of his is he wanted to start in India a protracted people's war. The word that is used by him is protracted people's war. 4 ideological aims में दिया गया. Just check it once. Protracted people's war he wanted to fight. Protracted means what? Long drawn out. Okay, so protracted means long drawn out. Protracted means long drawn out. It means that we are going to fight a long term war, sir. Okay, not a short term war. We are going to fight a very long drawn out war. That is what is called as protracted people's war. And people's war means what? Usually the people themselves will be converted into soldiers for the war, sir. Then the second ideological aim of this person is he wanted this protracted people war to be a guerrilla warfare, sir. What is the meaning of guerrilla warfare? There are some essential aspects of guerrilla warfare. What? Surprise. Surprise is one key element of the guerrilla warfare. And the second element of guerrilla warfare is usually in guerrilla warfare, you use your geography to your advantage, sir. Second one is geography, you will use it to your advantage. It means that you will attack from the forest. Then along with that, in guerrilla warfare, usually always there would be support of the local population to you, sir. Guerrilla warfare can never become successful without the support of the local population. So local population, surprise and geography are the key 3 elements or 3 key elements of guerrilla warfare. And in fact, he wanted to use these 3 elements, sir, in guerrilla warfare. Then the third strategy of his is he wanted to first and foremost establish a control over the rural areas of India, sir. His aim was, third aim was to establish rural revolutionary bases. Yes. What is the exact word? Rural revolutionary bases. Yes. He wanted to first create rural revolutionary bases, and after creating the rural revolutionary bases, the ultimate aim of his is to surround the urban areas and occupy them, sir. Is it clear? Surround the urban areas and occupy them. And the ultimate intention of Charu Majumdar is to capture political power by using violence, sir. Understand this very carefully. And because of this reason only, he clearly stated that, okay, the Naxals from today on, they should not participate in elections. Elections में हमको participate नहीं करना है. So we should not participate in elections because our ultimate ideology is to capture political power by using the means of violence. समझ में आ रहा है सर आपको? Okay, so what are the 4 ideological aims of Charu Majumdar? He very clearly stated that I have 4 aims. One is protracted people's war, long drawn out people's war. Second one is guerrilla warfare strategy I am going to employ. And the third one is I am going to do what, sir? Rural revolutionary bases I am going to establish, then surround the urban areas and capture them. And my ultimate aim is to capture the political power. Okay, and I am going to stop participating in democratic elections. Democratic elections में हम लोग participate नहीं करेंगे. And our ultimate aim is to capture political power with violence. Is it clear? So did you understand this? In fact, Naxal movement is a thoroughgoing or completely it is a political movement, sir. Many people think that Naxal movement is a social movement which is meant for social justice. But social justice and social movement is just a method in order to capture the political power, sir. The ultimate intention of the Naxal movement or Charu Majumdar was always the capture of political power, and they just used the social problems in order to capture the political power, sir. Otherwise, the Naxal movement's agenda would have ended with the implementation of land reforms. But even then, why they are fighting? Primarily because their ultimate aim is what? To capture political power by using the social problems of the country, sir. Is it clear? In fact, they strongly believe in the concept that power should always emerge from the barrel of guns. For power, we should not depend upon democratic elections. Power should emerge from the barrel of gun. I think I have mentioned it in the next slide. Don't worry, I have mentioned it. So power should emerge from the barrel of gun, and all of these four ideological aims are nothing but the importation of Chinese communism into India, sir. ये चार स्ट्रैटेजी किसने पहले बनाया था? माओ ने, सर. Mao implemented the same four strategies as part of Chinese Communist Revolution in 1949, and the same four strategies were imported into India and they were adopted to Indian conditions, sir. That's it. And all these four ideological aims he wrote as part of a book which is called as the historic 8 or 9 documents. Let's see. How many? 8 documents. The historic 8 documents of his, he published these documents, sir. And first, Naxalbari mein wo Jyotedar ka killing and attacking on the police happened. Then immediately what Charu Majumdar did is, in fact, Jangal Santal himself, after killing the people, he claimed that he is just following the ideology of Charu Majumdar, sir. वो खुद मार के बोला कि I am just implementing practically the ideas of Charu Majumdar, उसने बोला. Then after that, Charu Majumdar immediately what he did is he went into hiding, primarily because he will also be caught and prosecuted. Yes or no? Because his ideology led to the outbreak of violence. He would be prosecuted. He went into hiding, and in hiding itself, what he did is he organized an All India Coordination Committee, sir. He gave a call to many other communist groups which are present in different parts of the country to adopt the same method which has been done by the farmers of Naxalbari. He gave a call for everyone to do the same thing, and in order to coordinate these efforts, he established an organization called All India Coordination Committee, sir. And after All India Coordination Committee, the second thing that he did is this was established in the year 1967, and the same political party in 1968, its name was changed to All India Coordination Committee of Communist Revolutionaries, sir. इसी का नाम दूसरा नाम दिया उसने All India Coordination of Committee of Communist Revolutionaries, and the same political party in 1969 it became CPIE, Marxist Leninist, sir. Okay, so this is how the party names have changed over a period of time. I have mentioned them, sir. 1969 वाला दिया नहीं? Yes, 1969 it became Communist Party of India, Marxist Leninist Party. It might be given. Okay, so it's given somewhere or the other. It might be given. So All India Coordination Committee पहले party था, दूसरा party था All India Coordination Committee of Communist Revolutionaries, and third one is CPI, Marxist Leninist, sir. And through these political parties, what he did is he gave a call to the communist revolutionaries across the country, and being inspired by the Bengal form of communism, immediately in the Andhra region, in a place which is called as Srikakulam, sir. Srikakulam is the region which is just nearby to Odisha. If you cross the border of Odisha, you will enter into Srikakulam. In those places, what happened is in Srikakulam, there were some people who are also inspired by the communist ideology. By recruiting some tribals into as communist revolutionaries, what these people did is they also killed some landlords and money lenders who are present in Srikakulam district. So the movement it spread from Bengal to Srikakulam, sir. Is it making sense, sir? So this is the next step. Then after this step, the next thing that these people did is, in fact, Charu Majumdar believed in a line which is called as annihilation line, sir. Okay, he used to believe in a line which is called as annihilation. Annihilation line means what? Just complete elimination. And here the complete elimination is of whom? One is the landowners. Wherever the big landowners are there, you have to annihilate all of them. Then along with annihilation of landowners, the second step is, in order to protect the landowners, the police are going to come and we have to annihilate the police. Understand this. His strategy is two-pronged. One is kill the big landowners. And for protecting the big landowners, the police are going to come. So we are going to kill them too. And both these classes together, he called them as class enemies, and he gave a call to all the communists across the country in order to kill these two class enemies. One is the police and the second one is the landowners. So definitely when he is giving all these statements and he is provoking violence, what would the state do, sir? Will it sit silent? Huh? It will definitely not sit silent, sir. Okay, so what they will try to do, they will definitely try to suppress the movement. And initially the state government, it sent its own forces in order to suppress the movement. But the call of violence, it was such an inspiring call that from across the country to Bengal, numerous communists have migrated, sir. Okay, in fact, I met one police officer at one point of time long back who was SP, who was given the charge of countering the communists in Bengal, sir. And they said that numerous students from JNU, numerous students from Delhi University, okay, what they did is taking the call of Charu Majumdar, they came out of their universities and they migrated to Bengal. And the students from outside is a regular sighting in Bengal province. And when one such student was captured, okay, he was investigated. What are you doing here? Then when his bag is opened, there were books on socialism. यहाँ पे पढ़ना, वहाँ का call सुनना, और they went there. And in fact, at one point of time in Bengal, there were nearly 20,000 communist revolutionaries were there, sir. The call was very simple, but how many communist revolutionaries were there? 20,000 communist revolutionaries were there, sir. And immediately when he launched this movement, what happened is Mao from China, he gave a blessing to the movement, sir. He said that very nice, okay, you people are doing the right thing. Okay, he gave his blessing and he called the movement as, okay, Black Thunder, sir. Okay, so in fact, no, not Black Thunder, I'm sorry. No. He called the movement as Spring Thunder, sir. Okay, Mao called the Maoist movement in India or the Naxal movement in India as Spring Thunder बोल के उसने एक नाम दिया था सर इसको. And he gave a blessing. And blessing of Mao means what, sir? Huh? Money would be provided, weapons would be provided, ideological support would be provided. Blessings of Mao are not mere blessings of God, sir. Okay, these blessings are real blessings which led to the transfer of weapons, money, and along with that ideological support to the Indian Naxalites was provided by Mao. These people are armed. Will the state government be able to suppress nearly 20,000 revolutionaries who are armed and ready to fight, sir? Will it be able to? So definitely it was impossible to crush this movement, because of which what happened is Indira Gandhi, she suspended the state government by imposing the president's rule, sir. Because when the state government is unable to uphold the law and order of the state, then there is a possibility for imposition of president's rule. And by imposing president's rule, what she has done is in 1971, she has sent the Indian military in order to suppress the communist movement, sir. And the Indian military, what it did is it started an operation which is called as Operation Steeplechase. Try to understand this. So they started an operation which is called as Operation Steeplechase. Okay, and you know this sport called steeplechase, sir? What is steeplechase? There will be some hindrances and you have to jump above them and then run. Yes, that is steeplechase. In fact, the operation is also named as steeplechase primarily because it contained, let's suppose this is a Naxal affected area and people got to know that here the Naxalites are present. Then immediately one's encirclement would be of state police, sir. And if they are able to escape the state police encirclement, then immediately there will be a second encirclement of Central Armed Police Forces. And if they are able to escape the encirclement of the Central Armed Police Forces, the third encirclement would be of the Indian military, and this is a Gadbandhan. Okay. So definitely will they be able to escape this Gadbandhan, sir? The last step is in fact even the harshest of all steps, because the military is tactically capable enough to handle the superior weapons. Then they have better military strategy in order to counter these people. That is the reason why she employed the military in order to suppress the Naxal movement, sir. And by the end of this Operation Steeplechase, the Indian government was able to capture Charu Majumdar. And along with that, one more associate was there by the name of Kanu Sanyal. So all of these people were captured. And what happened is Charu Majumdar in imprisonment, when he was detained, okay, under mysterious circumstances, he died, sir. Okay, so under mysterious circumstances he died, but we have to write natural causes of death only. Okay, because of natural causes he has died, but people say that it is mysterious circumstances. Charu Majumdar, he died in imprisonment, sir. Then along with it, nearly 20,000 communist revolutionaries were captured and imprisoned by the government, and there was a brutal crushing of the communist movement, sir. Hundreds and hundreds of people were killed, and they were, okay, in fact, buried in unmarked graves across Bengal province, sir. This was the Operation Steeplechase. And when Indira Gandhi used this Operation Steeplechase, what happened is the communist movement, it was crushed brutally, sir. But the thing is, just like, you know, Ravana, when you cut one head of Ravana, what happens? Another 9, pura 10 heads pops out. So similarly, when the communist movement was crushed in Bengal, across the country, nearly 40 splinter communist groups have emerged, sir. Not one or two, okay, 40 communist splinter groups have emerged in different parts of the country, and all of them had the same ideology of Charu Majumdar, and all of them had the ideology of overthrowing the state of India by using violence, sir. Violence use करके हम लोग state को overthrow करेंगे, and for that we are going to use the social problems of India. Are you understanding what I'm trying to say? Because the ultimate aim of Naxals is what, sir? Capturing political power is their ultimate aim. For that, they were using the social problems of the country. Their ultimate agenda is to capture political power. And this way, nearly 40 splinter groups have emerged in different parts of the country. They have emerged, sir. Of these 40 splinter groups, listen to me very, very carefully. One organization is very, very important. It is called as the People's War Group, sir. Okay, one organization, we need not study about all 40, it is not relevant for us, but we will study about only two important ones, sir. One is the People's War Group, and the second one is Maoist Central Command of India, sir. Let's try to understand this. This People's War Group is a very, very important organization which emerged after the downfall of CPI-ML, and this group's main ideology is, in fact, it is the one which understood that by recruiting the tribals, by entering into the forest areas of India, the communist movement can become even more effective fighting force against the government, sir. Primarily because the tribals are facing many problems. They are being displaced, they don't have proper public infrastructure, they don't have proper education. So it is very easy to recruit the tribals into the communist movement. They are the ones, in fact, Charu Majumdar never reached out to the tribals of India, sir. His main focus was on land reform. But now, in Andhra region, this People's War Group became popular, and this People's War Group, what it did is, it started recruiting the tribals in large number into the communist movement, and they also gave a call that the class enemies of the communists are the landowners. Then uske साथ साथ में even the money lenders are also class enemies. Then police are also class enemies. Then along with the police, the third or the fourth category of people who are the class enemies are the civil servants too, sir. They added one more category now. Class enemies में पहले police था, लेकिन civil servants था नहीं. Now these people added civil servants also as part of the class enemies, and they extended the Naxal movement to the tribal belts of India. Listen to this very carefully, sir. So tribal groups पे extend किया, they recruited the tribals, they started fighting for the forest rights, and they used the social issue in order to further their political interests, sir. And this group, it became very, very powerful, and it had strong ties with the communists of China, sir. And in fact, People's War Group, it had military platoon formation. Military platoon formations means what? Okay, they had proper organizational structure, large platoons of Naxalites, sir. Okay, military platoons with the advanced AK-47 weapons. Okay, they became a very effective fighting force. Then along with that, one more important thing is they got continuous supply of money and weaponry from China. People's War Group became a major threat, and it is the same People's War Group which extended the communist movement to the tribal belts of Odisha, Chhattisgarh and Jharkhand, sir. समझ में आ रहा है आप लोगों को? Yes. And after the People's War Group, the next one is Maoist Central Command of India, and these people, they realized that okay, the caste situation in India can also be used in order to promote violence in India. And what this Maoist Central Command of India did is, it went to Bihar and Uttar Pradesh region, sir. And Bihar and Uttar Pradesh region is known for discrimination against the lower caste. So these people, what they did is they started propagating the ideology of socialism among the lower caste Dalits of UP and Bihar region, sir. And they started arming them. And if any minor incident of conflict between upper caste and lower caste emerges, these people armed the Dalits and gave them weapons and asked them to go and kill the upper caste members, sir. समझ में आ रहे हैं सर आप लोगों को? So Maoist Central Command of India is the one which used the caste as a method to mobilize the people, and through that they promoted inter-caste violence in Bihar and Uttar Pradesh, sir. So at this point of time, the Maoists had very advanced weapons, whereas the police, they had very traditional, that red color long wala gun. Okay, that rifle they had, and in many cases the police were having only lathis. Rifle is also most of the time stuck. Okay, then along with that lathi tha unke paas. But these people, they are coming in platoon formations. If a platoon attacks a police station, will the police be sufficient in order to fight against the platoon, sir? So this way, the police, they started facing a lot of problem, okay, when these people's war group used to attack them, sir. At this point of time, what happened is in Andhra Pradesh, which was united Andhra Pradesh at that point of time, because Telangana region was also one major region which was under the Naxal influence, sir. Primarily, if you look at even today, the top level leadership in the Naxal movement are from, okay, the Telangana region, sir. Most of them are students of Usmania University. They also used to study in, at that point of time, there was a NIT, which is called as Regional Engineering College, sir. So very highly educated people, they used to come out because of the inspiration of the Naxal movement, and they used to join these people, sir. And because of this problem, what happened is in Andhra Pradesh, there emerged an experiment in police organization which is called as the Greyhounds experiment, sir. Primarily, this is important because the same model was used by the central government in creating the Cobra battalion, sir. Okay, what are these Greyhounds? Okay, if the Naxals are carrying AK-47, then AK-47's response also should be a AK-47. You cannot fight AK-47s with rifles and very old guns. So what these people did is in Andhra, the state police, they created specialized battalions which are called as Greyhounds, sir. They selected the police officers who are physically fit. They gave them military training. They gave them advanced weaponry. They gave them uniforms which are blending with the forest, because the khaki uniforms in a forest, they are visible from almost 2-3 kilometers, sir. Whereas the Naxal uniforms are not visible to the police. Camouflage, they used to use camouflage. So what this person did is he changed the, so in this Greyhounds, they changed the uniform, they gave them advanced weapons, and police were given military training, and they were also created in the form of platoons, sir. And if you create police platoons, then automatically what will happen? The fight would be on the same line. So this way the Greyhound experiment was created by a very prominent IPS officer by the name of K.S. Vyas, sir. And he became the #1 person in the hit list of the Naxals, and he was killed by the Naxals for creating Greyhounds. He was executed. Then apart from that, the People's War Group, once the Greyhounds has been started, it started expanding its scope and it started attacking the politicians too, sir. And in fact, for United Andhra Pradesh, if you see, 3 home ministers were killed by the Naxals, sir. Then along with 3 home ministers, the chief minister's convoy itself was attacked. They used to target the politicians too. And they used to kill ministers, they used to kill politicians. Every which way the People's War Group was becoming a major threat, and the Greyhounds was able to control the People's War Group influence to a certain extent, sir. But here also what the government is using, everywhere it is security centered approach. Is Operation Steeplechase having any element of development, sir? Does the Greyhounds have any element of development? It was a direct out and out, it is a program of law and order. Security centered approach is the only approach which they are following. Then Maoist Central Command of India, the lower castes in rural Bihar and Uttar Pradesh started killing the upper castes. So what happened is the upper castes started arming themselves and they started creating organizations like Ranveer Sena. No Ranveer Sena? Why UP and Bihar has such gun culture today is primarily because of this reason, sir. Because the lower castes are armed by the Naxals. And the upper caste, they were also armed, or they brought arms of their own, and they created an organization which is called as Ranveer Sena. And in Bihar, we see a civil war between the upper caste and the lower caste, sir. Then uske saath saath mein, one more thing that happened is, In Bihar, they created a unit which is called as Special Auxiliary Forces, sir. Special Auxiliary Forces bolke retired military officers say they also created a platoon formation and they started fighting against the Naxals. But at the peak of the Naxal movement, nearly 40% of the geographical territory of India and 35% of its population was under Naxal influence, sir. In the second phase, are you understanding this, sir? Okay, the first phase it ended in 1971. Second phase it started from 1971 and it continued till 2000, sir. This decentralization phase. So 40% of the geographical territory of India and 35% of its population, so they were in one or the other form affected by the Naxal violence. At this point of time itself, they had an aspiration to create the Red Corridor of India in the eastern part of India, sir. The Red Corridor is what? It starts from Nepal, that is Pashupati, and it extended till this region in Andhra Pradesh which is called as Tirupati, sir. Pashupati to Tirupati, they wanted to establish an unbroken Red Corridor, which includes West Bengal, then along with that Jharkhand, Chhattisgarh, Odisha, Andhra and Telangana. Yes, I'll tell you that. So at this point of time, what happened is the Andhra Pradesh government, it invited the Maoist groups to the talks, sir, in 2005. Invite kiya, and all the Maoist splinter groups, they came to the meeting, and in the meeting they started talking to each other, understanding that all their ideology is one and the same. And after this meeting, what happened is all the splinter groups together, they created a single political party which is called as CPI Maoist. The enemies got reunited. The enemies of the state got reunited. All of them got reunited and they created a new political party of their own called CPI Maoist. And their plan was parallel to the Red Corridor, they wanted to create a golden corridor in the east too, sir, in the west, particularly between Maharashtra and Gujarat. By taking the help of the Bill tribals who are present there, Gadchiroli district, they wanted to create a golden corridor also in the west, sir. In fact, the Naxals were moving towards success. The state looked inefficient in front of the Naxals, sir. At this point of time, in 2006, what happened is a National Development Council meeting occurred, sir. You remember Planning Commission used to be there. It used to conduct meetings called National Development Council meetings. Yes, NDC. So, a NDC meeting 2006 में हुआ था, sir. And in 2006 NDC meeting, different chief ministers from different states of India, they all went to the NDC meeting. And in this meeting, Manmohan Singh, so breaking his silence, I'm just joking, don't take it seriously, he used to speak, sir, ऐसा नहीं था, decisions नहीं लेता था, बस उतना ही, बोलता था लेकिन decisions तो उसका खुद का नहीं था, ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा. Now, the thing is, he broke his silence and he gave a public statement saying that the biggest internal security for India or the biggest security threat for India is not from Pakistan or China. The biggest internal security threat for India is none other than the Naxal movement. Because 40% of your territory, nearly more than 150 districts, sir. India at that point of time in total had 600 odd districts, of which 150 districts were Naxal affected districts. And the Naxals are fighting and police are also fighting. Many people are dying in the process, but there is no solution to the problem. So in 2006, he made this statement that the Naxal problem is the biggest internal security threat for India. And immediately what he did is he appointed a commission which is called as the Bandyopadhyay Commission, sir. उसने planning commission में एक Bandyopadhyay Commission बोल के commission को appoint किया. And the Bandyopadhyay Commission, it was able to identify that the real problem of Naxalism is not law and order problem. The real problem we should address is the underlying socio-economic issues, sir. मैंने वो virtuous development cycle के बारे में जो बात किया था, that was the conclusion to which the Bandyopadhyay Commission has come to, sir. उन लोगों ने बोला कि हम लोग ऐसा किया तो कभी भी हम लोग we will not be able to solve the problem of Naxalism. One Naxal is killed, 10 more Naxals are born. We have to address the underlying socio-economic problems. Then only we can solve the problem of Naxalism. So at this point of time, they formulated a plan which is called as Integrated Action Plan. And the Integrated Action Plan, it had one development prong and at the same time, it also had one security prong to it, sir. And in the security prong, what these people did is they started a program which is called as Operation Green Hunt, sir. Then along with Operation Green Hunt, they created an elite fighting force which is called as Cobra Battalion, sir. You know about Cobra Battalions? Okay, Combat Forces for Resolute Action is the full form, sir. Resolute Action, Cobra Battalions को भी establish किया. उसके साथ साथ में Operation Green Hunt means because the Naxals live in green tents and green uniform they wear. Operation Green Hunt it is called as. So Bastaria Battalion बोल के they created one more organization. They sent the Central Armed Police Forces in large number to the states which are affected by Naxal problem. Okay, ये सब कर लिया किसके अंदर? Integrated Action Plan के अंदर. And this was the suggestion of the Bandyopadhyay committee, sir. And at this time, what was happening is the Naxals, they were escaping from one state to another, sir. Let's suppose combing operations are happening in Andhra Pradesh. Then they will immediately escape to Odisha. But the state police will not have any permission to enter into other state and do combing operations. Then if Odisha does combing operations, then they used to escape to, okay, so Chhattisgarh they used to go to. So this way they used to jump from one place to another, and because of this reason, the states became incapable in fighting the Naxal problem, sir. So at that point of time, the central government took numerous security steps, of which Operation Green Hunt is one prominent one, sir. And along with that, they also took up numerous development steps. About that I'll talk. Then after this, try to listen to me very carefully, sir. In this process of Operation Green Hunt and Integrated Action Plan, there was one system which was established which is called as Salva Judam, sir. You know about Salva Judam? What is Salva Judam? See, the main strength of the Naxal movement is what, sir? Guerrilla warfare. And in guerrilla warfare, the tribals are recruited and the tribals know about the forest very well. Yes or no? They know about the forest very well. That is the reason why they were able to use the tribals for guerrilla warfare. Then along with that, one more important thing is the tribals also will know the local language. Okay, whereas the Central Armed Police Forces which come from outside, they usually don't know the local language, they don't know how to fight in the forest. So that is the reason why what the Chhattisgarh government started doing is, it started supplying weapons to some tribals. Understand this? Some tribals are already recruited in Naxal groups. The other tribals who are left out, so for those tribals, these people started giving some element of training and started giving them weapons in order to fight for the government, sir. Yeah, but what is happening there? When the Naxals attack, then the tribals themselves are trying to defend, and on the both the sides, who are the casualties, sir? It got converted into a tribal civil war in Chhattisgarh, sir. Okay, you know about this person called Mahendra Karma? Mahendra Karma is the person who started this Salva Judam practice, sir. Okay, and along with that, there was also one minister of Indian National Congress, and both of them were killed by Naxals, sir. Later, when they were doing election campaign in Chhattisgarh, both of them were killed. So this was Salva Judam practice, and the Indian Supreme Court, it banned this practice, sir. Is it clear? But once we took up the security plus development approach, then automatically what happened is, we were able to resolve most of the socio-economic problems, and this led to the decreasing influence of the Naxal movement, sir. About the decline of the Naxal movement, I'll talk separately, but shall we have a look at the handout till here? Okay, highly required. Already it is. I mean, to recruit Naxal into state police so that that is surrender cum rehabilitation policy, sir. Yes, surrender cum rehabilitation means what? You will surrender, then automatically what will happen is you will be rehabilitated. Yes, okay. In fact, they give education incentives, they provide employment, they give one-time grant. Okay, all of these things happen, sir. Okay, in fact, the benefits are so many that many fake Naxals also started surrendering, sir. Not the real Naxals, because the benefits are so good. Okay, that is the reason why the government put a restriction that okay, ऐसा भी नहीं बोल सकते आप आके green dress डाल के Naxal बोल के, you have to bring some weapon and you have to give some information. Then only, okay, so we will give you surrender cum rehabilitation. Okay, so now shall we have a look at the handout, because we have discussed a lot many things. We'll see the handout and then move to the next topics. origin of Naxalism and phases of Naxalism. I need not talk about these things, right? We talked about them. Should I read through the handout? Not required. They are very simple, sir. Okay. So if you need, just see this. I think this I have explained already. Political spectrum वाला कोई जरूरत नहीं है, लेकिन extremism का देख लीजिए सर. Extremism का देख लीजिए. Extremism is generally understood as constituting views that are far from those of the majority of the population. And an extremist is a person who tries to compel other about the greatness of his point of view. And along with that, extremists usually have rigid views which they try to enforce on others even by using violence. Is it clear? Are you understanding what I'm trying to say? This is very, very important, sir. Okay. So sometimes in families also we find extremists. Yes or no? Okay. So that is the case. Next one is militancy. Prolonged violence. That word you highlight, sir. Militancy means any act of prolonged violence leading to instability. It can be either combative or offensive violence. Okay, combative means defensive violence or offensive violence, but any long-term violence is usually called as militancy. Then insurgency is usually secession. This should be the main aim of insurgency. Secession means separation from the union. Secession means separation from union, and it is an organized armed struggle with foreign support. And the important factor here is that invariably there is public support for the insurgents. Is it clear, sir? Is it making sense? Is Naxalism an insurgency? Naxalism is militancy because it doesn't have the aim of separation. Even though it has foreign support, local people support, it doesn't have any aim of separation. Its aim is what? To replace the government with a Maoist government. That is their aim, sir. समझ में आया आपको? So then after this terrorism, okay, so you just write one small statement there, sir. Or you draw a diagram, small diagram, flow chart जैसा डाल दीजिए. One is, number one, first step is use of violence or threat of use of violence. Use of violence or threat of use of violence. Second step is fear among people. Second step is fear among people. Third step is pressure on government. Third step is pressure on government. And fourth step is what, sir? Meeting the ideological or religious demands of terrorists. Pressure on the government to meet ideological or religious demands of terrorists. Is it clear, sir? If all these four are there, then it is called as terrorism. Okay, terrorism is in fact the language of fear, sir. Okay, so in fact you can write that statement. It is very good statement. Terrorism uses the language of fear. Okay, so in fact narrative. Okay, narrative, if you see the formal definition, constitutes a synaptic network of thoughts and memory that forms the matrix of individual and collective consciousness. So this is very difficult definition to remember. So just to write, narrative is a story. Narrative is a story which is believed by the people. Narrative is a story believed by the people. Narrative is a story believed by the people. Okay, that is what is called as narrative. Now, construction of narratives, usually government, media, academicians and influential people in society, they create the narratives, right? Yes, and narratives lead people to think in a specific way and act in a specific way, sir. Think and acting is also important, not just thinking. Think and act in a specific way. Okay, very, very important, sir. Narrative warfare is very important. So then modern times particularly during Cold War, there was narrative war is important war and USA won the war of narratives. Okay, narrative is successful only when people support it voluntarily, otherwise it will become part of propaganda. समझ में आया आपको? So then anti-state or weaponized narratives in Jammu and Kashmir, Punjab and Northeast were very successfully engineered by the external state actors, that is Pakistan. समझ में आया सर आपको क्या बोला वहां पे? Okay, so external state actors, they effectively built a anti-state or weaponized narrative, sir. Okay, is it clear? So then next one is the main attributes of security. I think we have discussed about these 4 things. I think this need not be discussed, sir. So linkages between development and spread of extremism, we talked about this too. Okay, this one. Okay, so this is the thing. Lack of livelihood opportunities, weak socio-economic indicators, disenchantment means hopelessness, increase in extremist influence, governance deficit, then lack of livelihood opportunities. Then development virtuous cycle, trust in governance, accelerated development, improvement in infrastructure, improved livelihood opportunities, improved socio-economic indicators, and trust in governance. Is it clear? Okay, this is the virtuous cycle of development. So did you write that statement, sir? I dictated one statement here, right? Now, first 50 years, yes. Okay, so we have talked about it. Then how underdevelopment causes extremism. Underdevelopment leads to discontent, poor socio-economic indicators, and along with that there is political marginalization. What is the meaning of political marginalization, sir? Enough representation. Okay, not even enough representation or power. Okay, not provided enough representation or power. Then it is called as political marginalization. Then governance deficit, you understand, right? Then denial of access to resources, diminishing common property resources and forests. Yes or no, sir? So there is forest rights is one important issue. Displacement induced alienation. Okay, this is also one important factor, sir. Please highlight that. Displacement induced alienation. Okay, in fact, I will give some statistics tomorrow. So in fact, out of the total people displaced in the name of development in India, sir. Okay, development-led displacement is something which happened in India, and out of the total number of people who have got displaced because of development, in fact, more than 40% are the tribal population, sir. And what is the percentage of tribal population to the as a percentage of the total population? 8%. It means that 8% of the population have been displaced. 40% of the total displaced people, they are the tribal people, sir. Is it not a disproportionate displacement, sir? समझ में आ रहा है मैं क्या बोल रहा हूं आपको? So in fact, I'll tell you the exact figure. I think 10 million people they got displaced in total after Indian independence. 10 million is what? 1 crore. And of which 10 million, 4 million were tribals, sir. And the total population of the tribals to Indian population at that point of time, so it was somewhere around, when Indian population was 50-60 crore, okay, the tribal population was 4 crore, sir. 4 crore में से 40 lakh people were displaced. Are you understanding what I'm trying to say? So that is what is called as displacement induced alienation, sir. Is it clear? So there you can write in bracket, development led displacement has disproportionately hit the tribal population of India. I will give the statistics, don't worry. Development led displacement led to disproportionate impact on the tribal groups. Disproportionate impact on the tribals. Is it clear, sir? I think you have understood that displacement. Yes. Then after that, next one is causes hindrance in how extremism causes underdevelopment. So in fact, it hinders development efforts. Is it true or not? Attack on the infrastructure, attack on the government functionaries. Then extremists target existing infrastructure too. It reduces the inflow of investment, ideas and innovations. It weakens the democratic institutions. Why? Why does it weaken democratic institutions? The Naxals give a call against elections. Okay, so as extremists give a call against elections. We have seen it, right? Charu Majumdar, in his 4 ideological aims, he clearly stated that Naxal should not participate in election. They do not recognize the Indian government. Then it also leads to rising defense expenditure. And rising defense expenditure is opportunity cost for us. I've just checked, sir. Just the security related expenditure for Jammu and Kashmir is 15,000 crores in the last year, sir. The same 15,000 crores, if it is not spent on security related expenditure, it could have helped in education, healthcare infrastructure. Yes. So in fact, rising defense expenditure is an opportunity cost, where you can write the scarce resources of the government are spent. The scarce government resources are spent in fighting internal enemies. Scarce government resources are spent in fighting internal enemies. Spent in fighting internal enemies. Okay, then along with that, if you use force against the citizens, it will rise the discontent. Yes or no, sir? Then the last one is it also adversely affects tourism. Will you be interested in going to tourism in extremist affected areas, sir? Yeah, at one point of time in India, Jammu and Kashmir tourism was very popular. But nowadays people are stopping in Himachal Pradesh. They don't want to go above. Okay, if they go to Jammu and Kashmir, also Jammu में ही थोड़ा इधर उधर घूम के वापस आ जाए, तो क्योंकि थोड़ा डर तो रहता है. Okay, there is no doubt about it. In fact, extremism causing underdevelopment is it will affect tourism. It will lead to opportunity cost. Then it will also destroy the existing infrastructure, no investments. Then along with that, one more major problem is using the violence against citizens. It will lead to more discontent among the people. Yes or no, sir? So all of these are important links between extremism and spread of, extremism leading to underdevelopment. So there you write one small statement. Extremism and underdevelopment have a bidirectional relation. Extremism and underdevelopment have a bidirectional relation, with each strengthening the other. Bidirectional relation with each strengthening the other. I think you understand this statement, right? Yes or no? Underdevelopment causes extremism and extremism causes underdevelopment. समझ में आया आपको? With each strengthening the other. With each strengthening the other. Bidirectional relation. Is it clear? Did I already dictate it by any chance? No, right? It was there. Okay. Okay, it is there, it seems, but fine. Nonetheless, okay, I think you have understood it. So this can be asked as a good mains question, sir. The linkages between extremism and Naxalism. Okay, primarily during British rule, there was unfair land settlement. Just see this. There was unfair land settlement, Jamindari, Malwari, and Raitwari system. Socialism believes that public ownership of means of production. Telangana armed struggle between 1948 to 51 is the first communist revolution of India. Please write that, sir. Is the first communist revolution of India. Is this Telangana armed struggle is the first communist revolution. First communist revolution. Then post-independence period, we see land reforms. Land reform are what? The 5 land reforms. But land is a state list subject. Understand this very carefully. Land is a state list subject. Then, okay, you write one statement there, sir. Okay, as land is a stateless subject, there emerged, as land is a stateless subject, there emerged numerous challenges. In proper implementation of land reforms. Stop. There were there were, just write, no, there were constitutional, legal, comma, procedural and attitudinal issues in implementation of land reforms. What are the constitutional issues, sir? Right to property. Okay, so I am not talking about those things because you already know them from polity. समझ में आ रहा है सर आप लोगों को? So you know them from politics, from the polity subject already. One is constitutional issue is with respect to the first Constitutional Amendment Act and right to property. Then at the same time, the legal aspect is with respect to land being a stateless subject. Procedural issue is what? The delay in enacting the land reforms. Okay, many state governments, what they did is they gave a lot many exceptions and they also delayed the enactment of the laws. So let's suppose if today we have to correct the land structure, then it should occur like demonetization with surprise element. Hey, sir. Okay, it would be a strategic attack on the economy of India. Okay, so what you have to do? You have to implement land reforms, okay, immediately, sir. Then only they can become successful. But अब 1951 में सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट ने लैंड रिफॉर्म्स इंप्लीमेंट करने का प्लान दिया, तो इमीडिएटली सुप्रीम कोर्ट केस गया. देन उसके बाद में स्टेट गवर्नमेंट्स वन आफ्टर द अदर स्लोली एंड ग्रेजुअली, okay, one state government enacted the law in 1956, but till then are the land owners fools to retain the land under their own name, sir? What will they do? Transfer of land. That is what happened, sir. And attitudinal problem is what? Most of the implementing agencies and the politicians themselves belong to the land owning classes. That is the attitudinal problem. Attitudinal, procedural, legal and constitutional challenges are there in implementation of land reform, sir. I think you have understood now. Is it making sense? These are the 4 areas where we need to focus upon, and these are the problems in implementation of land reforms. Now, if you see what is Naxalism, the term Naxal, it comes from this village which is called as Naxalbari village, which is part of the Darjeeling district in West Bengal, and under the leadership of Charu Majumdar and Kanu Sanyal and Jangal Santal. Use of violence to destabilize the state through various communist guerrilla groups, and in 1962 there was a CPI split between CPI Marxist, which is pro-China, and CPI which is pro-India, sir. समझ में आया आपको? Then after this, origin and phases of Naxal movement. 1967, United Front government. It is a non-Congress government formed in West Bengal, and the communists were part of this government, sir. Communist means CPIM. They promised land reforms by legal means by giving compensation. At this time, the leaders of this revolt were members of CPIM, which had joined a coalition government in West Bengal just a few months back. Okay, 67 May. So Kisan Sabhas in various districts were established, and Charu Majumdar was the head of the Kisan Sabha in Siliguri and started proposing violent overthrow of the Jabindari, sir. समझ में आया आपको? Okay. So Kanu Sanyal, Jangal Santal and Charu Majumdar forceful takeover of land and a dispute in Naxalbari Hill in Darjeeling, sir. Charu Majumdar wanted a protracted people's war in India similar to the Chinese Revolution. He wrote the historic 8 documents which became the foundation of the Naxalite movement in 1967, sir. Even today, these books are part of banned literature in India, sir. You should not read these books even today. If anyone finds you in possession of these books, you will be booked under UAP. I am not joking. Okay, अगर आपका पोजीशन में ये बुक्स मिला तो आपको भी बुक करेंगे, because being a member of the Naxal group itself is a crime. You need not do Naxal activities. समझ में आया आपको? Okay, that's the reason why I also did not try to read those books. Okay, based on what the public perceive, okay, these books to be, based on that only I'll tell about the essence of those books, sir. On 25th May of 1967 in Naxalbari, okay, so we have talked about it. Landlords men was attacked by the landlordsmen. In retaliation, the tribals started forcefully capturing back their lands. When a police team arrived, they were ambushed by a group of tribals led by Jangal Santal, and a police inspector was also killed. This event encouraged many Santal tribals and other poor people to join the movement and to start attacking the local landlords. And after 72 days of the revolt, the CPIM coalition government was able to suppress this incident which occurred in Naxalbari, sir. समझ लीजिए, they did not suppress the entire movement. They were able to suppress the Naxalbari. Then after that, if you see, in November of 1967, the left-wing extremists formed from the whole country founded the All India Coordination Committee in Kolkata. And in May of 1968, the committee was renamed as All India Coordination Committee of Communist Revolutionaries, sir. And the same AICCR later became the CPI-ML, Marxist-Leninist, sir. Okay, listen to this carefully. It declared 4 ideological aims: protracted people's war in accordance with Maoist teachings, adopting to guerrilla warfare tactics, establishment of rural revolutionary base, encircling the cities, as well as abstaining from parliamentary election. Is it clear? The ultimate aim is, there you write, the ultimate aim is to capture state power. The ultimate aim is to capture state power by using the social issues, by using not just violence, by using the social issues, and by converting the social movements into violent movements, sir. I think you have understood now. The ultimate aim is to capture political power by using the social issues and by converting the social movements into violent revolts. Is it clear, sir? Okay, so I think this statement makes it more clear to you. Then protracted people's war. Maoism is a doctrine that teaches to capture the state power through a combination of armed insurgency, mass mobilization, and strategic alliances. Mao called this process as the protracted people's war. Maoism's political orientation emphasizes the revolutionary struggle of the vast majority of the people against the exploiting classes and their state structures, sir. Same thing, more elaborate, that's it. Whatever I have told, the same thing, sir. Okay, political power grows out of the barrel of a gun. Ultimate aim of establishing the Indian People's Democratic Federal Republic, sir. Everyone has a aim. They are not satisfied with sovereign democratic republic. They wanted a Indian People's Democratic Federal Republic. Okay, so why this People's Republic, sir? China name is what? People's Republic of China. PRC. Okay, the same thing they wanted to do. They wanted to make India into People's. Okay, तो ये तो complicated बन गया सर. Okay, तो अच्छा हुआ कि उन लोग success नहीं हुआ. Okay, so otherwise we should have called ourselves by this name. Okay, so and I would have come by wearing a green color dress. Okay, from Andhra. लाल सलाम बोल के शुरू करके. Then I should have tried you for the examination. Okay, so but maybe examination would not be there. Okay, because communism believes in what? All applicants will become officers. That is what communism is, right? No need for examination. तो मेरा ये सब सुनना नहीं पड़ता था. लेकिन maybe after you get selected, I might have come. Okay, so to say Lal Salam and then tell you people that what Mao is God, Marx is God, okay, Lenin is God. So all of these things I would have made statement of. Okay, so I think you understand the argument, sir. Then immediately after Charu Majumdar, there is Srikakulam peasant uprising. Please highlight it, sir. Okay, so Srikakulam peasant uprising. Then CPI CCR founded the revolutionary party called CPI Marxist Leninist in 1969. The same party got converted into CPI Marxist Leninist. Then Charu Majumdar, he took this line called annihilation line, which aimed at the targeted killing of all class enemies. Okay, and here class enemies means landlords and police. So because you have to fight against the elite classes and their state structures. You remember Mao's statement? Elite class or their state structure के against लड़ना चाहिए. So here it means that landlords and police. Landlord and police are the two targeted sections, sir. And in July of 1971, was there any targeted killing of people in Odisha too, sir? Rich people? In rural areas? It is not there. Okay, you people might be too young to know about it. Huh? Were killed. That Alex, what is his name? Okay, okay. maybe very recently, right? 15-20 years means that is by the time their ideological aims have expanded. Initially, it was only landlord and police. You remember, I told you after that they started targeting the civil servants too. Yes. So then after this, you see this, sir. Then in 1971, Indira Gandhi took advantage of the president's rule to mobilize the Indian army against the Naxalites and launched a colossal combined army and police counter-insurgency operation termed Operation Steeplechase, killing hundreds of Naxalites and imprisoning more than 20,000 suspects and cadres, including senior leaders. Is it clear? So you remember that Operation Steeplechase diagram? Please draw that, sir. Okay, the 3-level encirclement strategy. Okay, Gathbandhan strategy. Chakravyuh. Please, you have to draw that. Okay, Operation Steeplechase. First level is police, second level is CAPF, the third level is military. This is the only time that military was directly used in fighting against Naxals, sir. Do we today use military for fighting against Naxals, sir? So our approach has changed now. We don't employ military against internal enemies, sir. Human rights violations, because the military strategies would always be harsh, extreme. Okay, so extreme. In fact, military strategies would always be extreme. We will discuss about AFSPA separately, sir, later. Now, the next one is decentralization and splintered into 40 groups, and their class enemies are whom, sir? Who are the class enemies now? Landlords, money lenders, then uske saath saath mein civil servants, police, and also politicians, sir. Politicians ko bhi shamil kiya tha. Okay, they might have identified the politicians as enemies later, but they identified them, sir. Okay, तो इन सब को मारने से पहले उसको politicians पे target करना था, but they identified the politicians as the class enemies at the end. Okay, so in fact the People's War Group had its base in Andhra Pradesh. No need to remember the names of Naxalites, sir. Okay, so no need to remember their names, and struck heavy casualties among the police personnel. Simultaneously, the Maoist Communist Center of India (MCCI) grew in strength in Bihar and carried out large-scale attacks on landlords and other upper caste outfits. So there you write one statement. Okay, so during this phase, the Naxal movement got converted from an agrarian movement into, during this phase, a decentralization and splinters phase is there, right? During this phase, the Naxal movement got converted from an agrarian movement into a tribal livelihood movement. Into a tribal livelihood movement, along with livelihood movement, along with becoming a lower caste movement, along with transforming itself into a lower caste movement or is also fine, and becoming a lower caste movement is also fine, sir. Along with becoming a lower caste movement. Now, in order to counter this, so there you write the Naxal groups got ideological, monetary and weapon support from external state actors. You can write Chinese also, but just to be diplomatic. Okay, so directly the Chinese were supporting ideological, weapon and monetary support from external state actors, and they formulated themselves into military battalions. With platoon formations. Military battalions with platoon formations and advanced weapons. Okay, so and advanced weapons. Try to understand this, sir. So then this K.S. Vyas, he created a special task force called Greyhounds, which is the elite anti-Naxal commando unit that still exists today, to establish control in the 7 worst affected districts. There you write. Okay, so Greyhounds is a military trained police unit. Greyhound is a military trained police unit. It's a military trained police unit, okay, which became an effective counter against PWG. Which became an effective counter against PWG, People's War Group. Is it clear, sir? Okay, so I think PWG, People's War Group, against PWG, that is People's War Group. Then in Bihar, Ranveer Sena, an upper caste organization and the special auxiliary forces of the state government targeted Naxal violence. So special auxiliary forces को highlight करके वहाँ पे छोटा चीज लिख लीजिए. Why I am telling each thing is also having a clear cut intent, sir. Okay, so special auxiliary forces को highlight करके वहाँ पे retired military officials you write. Retired military officials. Retired military officials were present. Then after this reunification phase, the Communist Party of India Maoist was formed in 2004 through the merger of numerous parties, sir. And after that, the Indian government started this operation called Operation Green Hunt. Okay, so and CRPF also launched this Bastaria Battalion, which is an anti-Naxal operations unit. Then along with that, Salvajudam in Chhattisgarh, okay, to counter Naxal violence, state appointed tribal police. Okay, so there you write one statement, but this Salvajudam is criticized. So Salvajudam is banned by the Supreme Court. So is it right for you to give weapons to civilians, that to innocent civilians? And what? They were not being recruited as full-fledged police force, sir. They were just civil militia. Civil militia means friends of police, you know friends of police, they are civil militia. It means that these people are not actually police, informal police. तो उनको क्या है, ओके, बंदूक देके चलाओ बस उतना ही. Okay, no training, no compensation, no proper salary. The only thing is after death also there is no proper respect. कुछ नहीं है. ओके, बंदूक देना और चलो ओके जंगल में जाके लड़ो. कौन किससे लड़ना है? कोई भी उस तरफ से आ रहा है ना उसको चलाओ बंदूक बस उतना ही. Okay, so then this led to a tribal civil war. It was in fact one of the most brutal human rights violations occurred at that point of time, sir. Any tribals who are suspected of supporting the Naxals, what these people used to do is they used to give very harsh punishment, sir. In fact, the police record in suppressing the Naxal movement is also not good, sir. Because of which I told you, right, security centered approach में कभी भी देखो counter violence को ज़्यादा breed करते हैं, sir. And the police violence, it gave justification for more tribals to join. Because once you start using violence, what happens? Okay, you will also target the innocent people too. हाँ, डिफरेंशिएट नहीं कर सकते क्योंकि हर कोई नक्सल भी वैसे ही दिखेगा and innocent citizen also will see the same way, will look the same way. And in fact, the Jan militia means the people's force of Naxals, it reached the number of 40,000, sir. 40,000 लोग थे. उसमें से People's Liberation Guerrilla Army was 8,000 fighting troops they used to have. 8,000 लोग fighting force थे. 40,000 sympathizers of Naxals were there. They are called Jan militia. So naturally, the state police were going to take extreme steps, and when they take extreme step, automatically the other side also will get justification to fight. Yeah, I have given the entire statistics, sir. And one interesting fact about the Naxals is Naxalism or the Naxal movement is the only place where men and women are almost equally represented, sir. And in fact, some studies say that there are more women Naxals than men. Why? What is the reason? डोमेस्टिक वायलेंस फेस किया तो गन पकड़ जंगल में निकलना. Now you have to appoint a lawyer, that's it. No need to do all these things. Okay, he will take care. Okay, he will extract from the person who has conducted domestic violence enough, okay, to make him fearful for his entire life, not just okay to that day. Is it true or not? Huh? I'm not Yes. So why there is so much women representation? In fact, this is very harsh reality of the Naxal affected areas, sir. What happens is, in the areas which are under Naxal influence, they put a levy on every family, sir. Levy means what? Okay, in every house, at least one member should become part of the Naxal movement, sir. Then what the family started doing is, because of patriarchy, girl child is considered to be dispensable. That is the reason why what they used to do is, they used to give away the girl child to the Naxals. And when she is 7-8 years old, she would be recruited into the Naxal ranks, sir, first as an informant. And they are part of this fighting unit which is called as Bal Dastas. Bal Dastas are the Naxals who are below 15 years of age, sir. They have a separate platoon of their own. And whenever the combing operations become intense, and if some Naxal leader, top leader is hiding in some place, immediately the Naxals will mobilize the Bal Dastas, sir. And when the police fight against the Bal Dastas, children will be killed. Then immediately what will happen? There will be immediate media reports saying that the Indian government is killing children. And if you kill children, there will be negative public image, and immediately the government will call back the troops. That way, they deliberately employ these Bal Dastas, and around mainly the top leadership, all the recruitees are Bal Dastas, sir. In fact, they are using all tactics of terrorism, sir. There is nothing, no difference between them. That is the reason why the Indian government also under UAPA, they doesn't differentiate between a terrorist and a Naxal, because their methods are also same. They are also political ideology ke liye violence they are using. They are pressurizing the government in order to meet their ideological aim. Same thing. That is the reason why today in India, Naxals are also classified as terrorists, sir. Okay, don't move away from this idea. Naxals are also terrorists. Okay, don't move away from this idea. This is very clear. Naxals are also terrorists, sir. I am repeating the same statement again and again. The reason is, many people think that Naxals are different from terrorists, but that is not wrong. Ideologically, strategically, every which way if you see, there is a lot of similarity between Naxals and terrorists, sir. But what happens is, many UPSC candidates, when they start preparing for UPSC, they get attracted to socialism, because socialism is something which is very attractive to the youth of the country, sir. I told one statement, you remember, if you are not a socialist in your 20s and if you are not a capitalist in your 30s, there is something wrong with you. And what they do is, they start treating the Naxals with very soft hands in exam, while writing, while speaking. Okay, but that is not right approach, sir. That is not right approach. Understanding this? Yes. Then after this, current General Secretary, not important, Salvajudam in Chhattisgarh, I told about this. Then after this, I think the rest of the factors, they have been covered separately, sir. Okay, reunification phase ke baad. Why not? Even the terrorists also have a cause. Are the terrorists fools in order to fight without a cause, sir? Okay, but the method is exactly the same. But that is the real problem, not the only problem. Primarily because you classify any group on the basis of the methods they are employing, but not on the basis of their ideas. Which one? That's what. But whatever it might be, see, the Naxals are not being called as terrorists because of their ideas. They are being called as terrorists because of their actions, sir. And do you evaluate a person on the basis of his ideas or actions, sir? Mainly you have to do it on the basis of actions, sir. Because ideas can change, actions are permanent. Okay, today I am a socialist, tomorrow I can become a capitalist. That is different. Okay, but actions are more important. Are you understanding this? Okay, so this is the case with the Naxal movement. So are you people tired? Okay, so first day of class, I don't want to, in fact, threaten you and make you disappear for the next class. Okay, so what we can do is, we can continue our discussion. Tomorrow is also holiday. Okay. Why is it Saraswati Puja deliberate for Valentine's Day? What is the where the Tithi has coincided. Okay, okay. This is every year February 14th, or the Tithi is going to change. This year the Tithi has coincided with Valentine's Day. Okay. So love your books. Okay, so okay, so that's what I can say. Okay, so this is very auspicious day tomorrow. Okay, so that's the case. So on this note, if I did not recall that tomorrow is a holiday, otherwise I would have continued, but fine. Okay, so we'll wind it up, sir. Okay, 15 minutes before, but mornings try to come at least by 8:10. Okay, if not for 8:15. Okay, 5 मिनट 8:05 8:10 के बीच में आने के लिए ट्राई कर लीजिए. सो कल से हम लोग मिलेंगे. सर तो 9:30 को आ गया VIP. Okay, so we'll continue the discussion. Very important topic, sir. Internal security is a very important topic. So let's do the discussions from day after. So fine, sir. Let's call it.